Sound check, sound check. Sound check, sound check. All right. Thank you, Liz. Welcome, everybody. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to everybody. Welcome those watching on replay. Thank you for joining, everybody. So good to see you. Let's see what we got here so far. All right. Davino. We got Davino first up in the lineup. Robin Latham, moderator. Leslie Vasquez, moderator. All right. I see some people that are on here that are not in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully everybody had a stress-free week, if there is such a thing. So good to see you. So good to see you. Thank you for everybody that liked the video already. We already have 9 likes. That's a new one. All right. Happy Thursday night. Welcome to HT Thursday Night Live. Let's give everybody a chance to, a couple more people a chance to pile in, and then we will get cranking. We got a lot of ground to cover today. And so I would like to, try to get I would like to get as many people in here as possible tonight on stage, I mean. And so let me get my ducks in a row here. And we're going to start out with some really weird talks. Everybody doing all right? Hey, Susan. Shout out to Susan Gardner. I see you. Everybody enjoyed your conversation the other last week, Davino. You did such a great job as a guest. Hope everybody's doing fine. We had a good time on Wednesday. We got a chance to talk about some of the videos. As you know, this week I'm doing a series on understanding the typology of a mass unaliver. And we've covered the pseudo-commando. And tonight we're going to talk about the disciple. I also want to talk about the alibi. We've had a lot of back and forth on that one. And then I would also like to go back to a couple of places we've already been, such as Diem and Bethany, and also the controversy that now surrounds the sheet. I made a little small video today about the aunt having some interview with somebody. I believe this is the same aunt that had the interview in a few months ago and said some things. I think this is the same person, if I'm not mistaken. And so if you want to have a look at that, that's fine. But I don't want to waste too much time with that tonight because I don't feel that there was anything of substance in that interview. Nothing new, nothing shocking, nothing that we didn't already know. Just somebody trying to get a check from the tabloids or whatever, probably trying to get whatever she could get for that little conversation she's been holding in her pocket before the time comes where nobody is paying money to hear stuff like that. All right, let's put some of these comments. I'll be putting your comments on the screen, most definitely. I want you to be very involved in the conversation so that we can have a well-rounded one. And at about 9:15, I'm going to start putting the link in the chat for anybody that would like to come on stage. All right. Much love to you, Tetra 5578. Good to see you. Good to see you, Terry Sleuth. All right. We got the usual suspects. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you said that, Les, because that's kind of supporting what I've been saying for a while now. All right. If you filed your 9th request for the same information, let's just take this out of the context of a legal situation, put it in the context of maybe applying for something in civilian life. Now, name one thing that you would apply for 9 times. Name one thing. Just name one thing that you would be willing to ask for 9 times. Just think about it. Because, I can file motions. I don't need a law degree to do that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing Ann Taylor, but I'm just calling it like I see it. I don't care who his attorney is. I would say the same thing. If Johnny Cochran was Koberger's attorney, and the only thing I see is delays, and files for requests, and the client is just sitting there doing time, and they're supposed to be absolutely, totally uninvolved with the crime, I would say the same things. So I don't have it out for Ann Taylor. Perhaps she's doing the best she knows how to do. But at the same time, like I said, name one thing that you would be willing to apply for 9 times before you take some other action. Is it for the record? Is it to show just how uncooperative the prosecution is? What's the purpose of that? Because after the 4th or the 5th request, seemed to me like, it's time to take another avenue. It's time to cite somebody for misconduct. It's time to say, hey, my client's not getting due process. Who's willing to make the same request 9 times? Nobody. Not in the courtroom scenario and not in any other scenario. Or let me speak for myself. I wouldn't be willing to keep asking somebody for something 9 times. It just, to me, it's redundant. After the 3rd time, to me, 3 strikes and you're out. To me, after the 3rd request, it's time to do something. All right, Les, can it help an appeal? First of all, sometimes when you take a plea deal, you cannot appeal the case. There might be a stipulation in the plea deal that you can't come back and ask for another chance to have your case heard. It depends on the stipulations of how the case got dismissed the first time and whether it's even eligible for appeal. And second of all, why would you be working ahead for appeal? You just, 8-9 months into the case, you say your client is innocent. You say your client has no connection to the victims. The prosecution saying they're not even going to use DNA in the case. So what's the problem? Why are we not hearing this? All right. If he's convicted, I would have to say that asking for something 9 times is still redundant, because you should not be looking towards his conviction. The objective is to win. All right. There is, at this point, there should be no, how should I say it? There should be no room in your psyche for the possibility that you're going to lose at this point, because you have somebody that you say and he says is not guilty. The plea is not guilty. Whoever made the plea is not guilty. And you're saying that he's not connected to anybody in the house. As far as we know, they can't connect them to the house except for some very questionable knife sheath. You don't have anybody that can place him inside their house. Even Dylan's statement says that she did not recognize the person. Only thing that connects him is eyebrows, and that's not going to get it. So what is the problem? Why are we already building a case for appeal? You're supposed to be winning this round right here. You know, I can get somebody, I can represent somebody, let them get a convicted, and then turn around and appeal the case. I can do that. You can do that. A 9th request, to me, let me find another example. I don't think I'm getting my point across. My example must be bad, because let's say you owe me money. Let's say you owe me $200. Okay. Let's say Terry Sleuth owes me $200. Do you really think I'm going to ask Terry for something that's mine and I have a right to 9 times? Do you really think I'm going to just ask Terry? I see on the street, Terry, where's my money? Oh, I got you. I'm going to throw it to you. Then the next time I see Terry, or I call Terry, this is the 2nd time I'm asking you for my money. And then the 3rd time. And this is just $200. Okay? The 9th request Aunt Taylor made, this is for somebody's life. This is somebody's life on the line. But I'm showing you just with $200. I'm not going to keep asking Terry for my money. I might ask Terry 3 times just to make sure I've been graceful before I make up my mind that Terry's not going to just give me my money. Terry has no intention of giving me my money, because if I've asked Terry on 3 separate occasions to give me my $200 and she keeps blowing me off, well, it's time for me to do something different to get my money. I'm either going to walk away and say I'm never going to get my $200 back, or I'm going to go back to the huddle and say, hey, we're going to have to do something a little bit more drastic. I'm going to have to bring some pain to Terry, mentally or physically, to get my $200, because I've already been nice and asked her 3 times. Okay? When you don't pay your bill, first they send you a notice. Then they send you a second notice, and they tell you this is our 2nd time asking you. Then the 3rd time, okay, it's delinquent. Maybe you didn't get the 1st or 2nd notice, but you got one of them. This is the 3rd time, and after this, we're going to take action. It's going to collections. We're coming to repossess something. We're going to call the credit bureau and tell them you don't pay. We're going to start taking action now. Nobody goes to number 9. Okay, so I'm not impressed by all of these redundant requests because that's all they are. Okay, it shows that the prosecution is not studying Ann Taylor. Basically, they don't feel that they have to show her any respect. So I don't know where they're getting this confidence from. Probably from the fact that they all work for the state. Shout out to Carly Miles and Eagle Eye Area. Love you too. Love you much. Love you more. You know, oh, please don't send the sick, my child crew. You see, people don't play about certain stuff, their money, their kids, certain things people don't play about. And so here's somebody's life on the line, a young man with a very big future. Because if they can't stick this on him, he still has a future. Unless he's going to be on death row for the next 20 or 30 years, he still has a future. I just feel like it. And so he's somebody to fight for. It's not like somebody's on trial that's already killed before and this is his second or third rodeo. This man doesn't have any murders on his record. Okay, I'm just saying like it is. I might say whatever. I turn the ads off here. I know I ain't gonna get no ads because of my conversation, my vocabulary, whatever. So, okay, forget that. This guy does not have any he doesn't have any significant record. Shout out to Terry Richards, Robin Latham. See what y'all got down here. Yeah, the judge needs to step in and Ann needs to bring up due process being denied. I agree 100%. She said this was the exact reason she had him waive his speedy trial. I didn't get it. Robin, we're on the same page. We're on the same page, and I'm going to give you a brain just for mentioning the word due process because this is the law we're dealing with. It's not a matter of somebody saying, hey, give me my toy. I'm getting ready to go home, and the person won't give you that toy. That's not what this is. This is a legal process where there are standards and statutes and guidelines and codes. And so, hey, yeah, I do take goobers. Terry, yeah, I take goobers. Now, listen. This is not something to play with, is what I'm saying. And I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but for somebody to just sit and keep beating that same, go around that same block, asking for papers, and even if the prosecution gives her the paperwork that she asking for, what is that going to do? No, that's not the crux of this case. The paperwork she's asking for, it's other things that need to be done besides what she's asking for. I mean, we got enough evidence as the public to build a case. So what's the problem? Okay. It has nothing to do with, it's just an excuse. It's just an excuse. Okay. I feel like, to me, the speedy trial is for people that's innocent. Because you don't want somebody that had nothing to do with a crime sitting in jail on your dime, on your watch, because of decisions you made, because you're going to have that coming back on you. So you don't want somebody sitting in there that didn't do it. That's the reason you have a right to a bond hearing, a preliminary hearing, and a trial, really. You have a right to those first two things, like the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks you're in jail. That's why. Because the law enforcement can charge you with anything on any day, but they don't want all these people coming to the jail with these charges, outlandish stuff, and there's no safety net, there's no guard, there's nothing to sift through all of that and make sure people are getting treated with justice according to the law. That's why they have all these things that have to happen within a certain amount of time after you're arrested. That bond hearing and that preliminary hearing, they have to happen a certain time after you're arrested. That's the law. Okay, even if she has the wants the IGG info. I mean, is that really stopping anything for her to have the, all of the documents for that? I mean, really, because right now, most of the energy has gone to throwing the grand jury indictment out. That's where a lot of her energy went. And whether that's going to happen or not, I just feel like that's where a lot of her energy went, and that's fine. Fire that, and then while you're doing that, you have somebody else on your team working over here, because Ann is not Brian's only attorney. That's another thing. Ann Taylor is not his only attorney. There's a team of them. Okay, Susan Gardner, let me put this up. We all want to know how they came up with Brian's name. She's supposed to be telling us that. She's got a client. She's the only person that can really talk to Brian and find out what's going on. She's supposed to be telling us that. What you mean she wants to know? She's supposed to be telling us. Oh my goodness. Let me move on to the alibi, because I know what people are gonna say. She's gotta prepare, and they're not giving her what she needs. There's a boatload of excuses I've got here. Hold on, let me open my laundry basket. I've got a whole list of excuses of why she's not in trial right now. What are you talking about? Oh my God, are you kidding me? Come on, man. This is somebody, well, let me backtrack, because Brian Kohlberger doesn't seem to mind being in jail. What I'm speaking of is normal people that are really shocked and appalled when they're arrested for something they didn't do. Usually people that are arrested for something they didn't do, they show out when they're being arrested. There's no way in the world you could have got me from my house to the jail over there in Pennsylvania without me being on camera, kicking, screaming, biting, telling them back up off me, don't touch me. What do you mean I am under arrest? This is what you would have got from me. They would have had to stick a needle in my arm, give me the horse tranquilizer, pretty much almost put me to sleep. What you mean? And then you burst in my parents' home, tore up the door, bust the window just to come get me out? Come on, hold on now. Wait. And you say I did what? And you say you got, and then if I was the mother, you telling me you got my son locked up because his eyebrows, somebody in the house saw his eyebrows, and you got my husband DNA out the trash, and you did what? Hold on now. Come on now. Let's just be reasonable. This is human nature. I have never seen somebody get arrested, charged, put on hold first 6 months. Now we're going on the second 6 months. The lawyer is really dragging with the defense. Nothing, no superstar moves so far. And the client is just sitting smiling more and more in the camera every week. We couldn't even hardly get a smile out of him at first. Now every time you see him, he coming in the courtroom smiling. What am I missing here? What am I missing here? What am I missing? I got to be missing something, because the longer you sit in jail for something you didn't do, seems to me like the more rotten I would become on the inside, knowing I'm just being done dirty and nobody is coming to my rescue. I would be just slowly becoming rotten inside, sitting in jail for something I didn't do, and I can't even talk to anybody about it. If I get on the phone with my people, it's recorded. I got to hold all this in. Okay, this is my point right here. If the prosecution has already said in the affidavit and in another document that they're not even bringing the DNA to trial, how can that be the holdup? Who cares about the family tree? If the prosecution is not going to bring the DNA into evidence in the trial, how could that be the holdup? How could that even be the focus of the investigation? If it's not going to be brought to trial. And then a lot of what she's asking for, the prosecution doesn't have it, because it was all foolishness. You can't give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have. And a lot of what she's asking for, they're gonna have to manufacture it if she keeps demanding it. So what, you gonna just sit there and wait and ask a 10th time while he's sitting in there? I mean, what am I missing? I never seen a criminal case conducted like this in my life. I never seen attorneys move like this in my life, and I've never seen a client so happy to be in jail for quadruple murder in my life. So it's something I'm missing. That's why I got y'all here, and I'm getting ready to bring y'all on stage so you can explain it to me, because I don't get it. I'm telling you right now, I don't get it. I don't get it. He was smiling in his mugshot just about. I don't get it. All right? I just don't get it. If the DNA is not going to be introduced in the evidence, why is that the holdup? There's always somebody you can go to and complain if you're not getting your due process. And I wouldn't be talking about waiting for somebody to convict me, and then on appeal, I want to write all the way to the Supreme Court and hope Clarence Thomas, God forbid, is going to help me out. Are you, you better work it out here. Be honest with you. You better work this out right here, because 4 students died. Not 4 gang members, not Tupac. 4 university students died on the same day on University Watch. Somebody's going to have to pay for that, and they're going to have to pay now. So I just don't understand why we have, why the prosecution, the defense is allowing all of this stuff. I mean, you're allowing it. You're allowing it. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Terry. They don't even have a case, even with the missing paperwork. I would have took it to them, because they can't. Listen, you can't even prove that white surveillance suspect vehicle is his. You don't have his tag. You don't have him at the wheel. All you got is some phone pings saying that different pictures of cars is him. That's not going to wash. That's not going to wash. And then saying the phone pings and where he was and stuff, it's not accessible from 3 to 5 a.m. So you don't know where he was during the time you said that the crime occurred. You don't know where he was. You don't know where he was. You don't know where it was. You can't prove that's his car. You're saying you're not gonna use the DNA. Hey, let's go to court. You don't have a case. You don't have a case then. You don't have a case then. If you're not bringing in the DNA, you're moving the sheep all over the place. You can't prove it's his car. It's probably not his car. Most of those pictures I've seen is not his car. You don't, by your own admission, you don't know where he was between 3 and 5. I say let's go to court. And then you had 6 months to get all of this stuff worked out. You had it. Shout out to Blue Aqua and Carly, Cindy, Dave. I see you. Take a minute and give a few shout outs. I'm just saying, you go on the court. You don't wait overtime for them to just keep slinging mud at this man's name. You know, you're slinging mud at his name. People just coming out lying all over the place because they can. Shout out to Deb Tutoro. Because they can. And, it's turned into a circus show. That's what I'm saying. That's what I said months ago. And that's exactly what's happening right now. All right. So I'm going to move on to my first point. And then I'm going to open up the stage where people can come in if they would like to speak on the case. We got plenty of time. And I know if Davino comes on, he's just going to run the show. So let's put him on at about 9:30 if he wants to come on. Davino, where you at? You still with us, Davino? We want to hear from you tonight. Give me a second. Yeah, well, the Idaho governor is already fully involved in this case and knows what's going on. As a matter of fact, that's probably how he became governor, by covering up murder cases. So it's no use in going to him because he's fully invested, fully involved. The way that this case turns out has a lot to do with whether he's going to be reelected. Okay, and he has friends in high places. That's probably how he became governor, by being able to being a chief of police or somebody and being able to cover up a major crime. That's probably how he got to become governor. So no use in knocking on his door. Let's see. Hartrell, do you think the defense has knowledge of something more incriminating than the prosecution has told him that makes her have to dance around all these issues? It's certainly possible, and the answer is yes, and I'll tell you what it is. It's already on the screen. It's only one issue, Robert. That's an excellent question. First, let me give you a brain. Yes, that's an excellent question, and the answer is on the screen. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Let me give you a brain. I said this before. Everybody had a fit. About 5 people unsubscribed. A couple people called me a name. About 4 or 5 people. Oh, you're wrong. Let me tell you. And I'm gonna say it again. We're right back at the same thing. All right. And look at Robin's choice of words. Dance around all these issues. The reason why she can't just go straight and take it to him is because Brian does not have an alibi. I've said this about 15 times, and every time I say it, it's like, you know? And I'm like, what did I say that's so just foreign or whatever? Shout out to Deb Tudor. I forget. Did I give you a shout out, Deb? And Davino. I don't know if I gave him one. Davino, where you at? You just logged in and left or what? Now, I'm going to say this again. The reason why she couldn't just run in there and start the trial on October the 2nd, whether they indict him or not, who cares? I got this. The reason why she couldn't do it is because he doesn't have an alibi. He doesn't have an alibi. Shout out to Audrey Cates. Y'all, we got the usual suspects tonight. Hey, Audrey. He doesn't have an alibi. And I listen. Say whatever you want to. Think about it. If you were on a jury, if you were arrested for this crime, anybody in here right now, and they come and take you to the police, they don't even arrest you. They tell you they want you to come down to the precinct so they can ask you some questions. They don't even arrest you. The first thing they're going to ask you is, where were you on November the 13th? Where were you on November the 14th in the wee hours of the morning? They're going to ask you where you were. It's a fact. They're going to ask you where you were. If you can't come up with a solid alibi of where you were during the commission of the crime, they're going to proceed with the investigation. They may not 100% be able to prove at that time that you did it, but they can't, quote unquote, eliminate you. They may have 3 or 4 suspects, but in order to eliminate you from the suspect list, you have to have an alibi. That's true, Carly. Many have no alibis each. Yeah, well, that's true. But I want to stick to the one that's arrested. Hold on 1 second. I swallowed wrong. All right, let me go to, I want to read this to you quickly, just a few pieces of it. Then I'll start taking guests on the stage. It says, what is an alibi? Understanding the importance of an alibi in criminal defense. Defining an alibi. An alibi serves as a defense mechanism. Let me see. I hate to try to make this bigger. And then my screen is StreamYard to be bigger, which I don't want it to be. All right. But anyway, an alibi serves as a defense mechanism in which the accused attempts to prove their physical absence from the crime scene during the commission of the alleged offense. It essentially asserts that the defendant could not have committed the crime since they were elsewhere, providing a verifiable account of their whereabouts. Establishing an alibi. This is very important. Please just listen. To establish a credible alibi, the defendant and their legal counsel must provide concrete evidence that supports their claim of being in a different location at the time of the crime. This evidence often takes the form of eyewitness testimony, surveillance footage, financial records, cell phone records, credit card receipts, or any other documentation that can corroborate the defendant's whereabouts. Importance of an alibi. An alibi is crucial in criminal defense for several reasons. First, it challenges the prosecution's case by introducing reasonable doubt regarding the defendant's involvement in the crime. Introducing reasonable doubt. Now, let me ask you, if you're a juror and they tell you that the alibi is that the defendant was driving around, would that establish reasonable doubt that they didn't commit the crime? Unless they can prove they were driving around, it will have absolutely no effect on my opinion as a juror, unless they can prove they were driving around. This says concrete evidence. All right? By presenting a solid alibi, the defense can shift the burden of proof onto the prosecution, requiring them to demonstrate beyond a reasonable doubt that the accused was indeed present at the scene. Secondly, an alibi serves as an affirmative defense strategy that aims to create a reasonable alternative scenario. It provides an opportunity for the defense to challenge the accuracy and reliability of the prosecution's evidence, potentially undermining their case. All right, one more. Furthermore, an alibi can also serve to discredit witness testimony. If the alibi contradicts the statements of witnesses, it may raise doubts about their credibility and overall reliability. In some cases, the defense may present witnesses who can testify that the defendant was present elsewhere during the commission of the crime, further bolstering the alibi defense. All right? That sounds good, right? This is, let me see who this is. This is Joshua Regala, criminal defense lawyer in California. In this case, if I look up Idaho law, the definition of an alibi is not going to change, Les. It's not going to change. The definition of the alibi is not going to change across states. And what it can do for the case is not going to change. It can be a lawyer from Mexico. It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same definition. They better have video evidence. Now, this is what he was saying about concrete evidence, concrete alibi. Okay, if you were riding around, did you pass a toll? You know, some neighborhoods and areas will track you for speeding, you know, and send you a picture of your vehicle. If you go stop where you have to pay 50 cents or 25 cents to go through the toll road, it takes a picture of your license. Okay. You know, in Florida, if you go through the sun thing on the turnpike or whatever, they take a picture of your license. There's evidence you were there. Okay, did you pass by any restaurants that night that have strict surveillance around their property, the parking lot or whatever? Did you go by McDonald's? McDonald's usually has a camera that'll reach out to at least one that'll reach out to the street. Okay, did you stop anywhere for gas and use your Apple Pay or your credit card? There's several ways that you can prove you were driving. But just to say I was driving and not offer any corroborating witness testimony or evidence, if that's the case, I'm going to say you don't have an alibi. And people can get mad, but if you tell me you were driving around for hours, but you can't tell me, you don't have a witness or nobody was riding with you, you don't have any surveillance camera, no receipt from the gas station, no receipt from maybe a restaurant, you stopped to get a snack. Okay, maybe you stopped by somebody's house, or WSU is a college town. There's so many cameras around that place. Okay, does the camera catch you leaving Pullman? Because if you drove for 2 hours, you drove out of Pullman. So where did you go? And are there any cameras showing you in other areas? Because I'm going to tell you something about that driving around alibi. They're already trying to say that after the crimes, he drove through Blaine, Genesee, Uniontown. And so you basically telling people you were on the road. So I don't understand why they would tell people that he was driving around when the prosecution is saying he was driving around. I think that's cutting it close. If I couldn't prove I was driving around, I would just say I don't have an alibi. Nobody can say where I was. I was by myself. I was at my apartment, or I was over here. But I wouldn't say I was driving around if the people that arrested me said I'm driving around. I'm just saying. All right. Carly Miles. Bubba Atlanta and others have alternative scenarios and suspects. I will be finding them. Everybody has alternative scenarios and suspects. Okay, we presented scenarios with we presented scenarios where L.E. did it. One of the first people I accused was Eden Harsh and the police. And then whether it was organized crime, whether it was, the kids, was it DM or Bethany? Everybody has alternative scenarios and suspects. Everybody. From the beginning, everybody's had alternative scenarios and suspects. But my concern right now is who they have in custody and whether he should be there. That's my first concern. Because that would solve a lot of questions with these other scenarios just to know if they have the right person in custody. I want to know about the person that's in custody for the sake of him and his family, because we've already lost four victims. My focus is on the trial and the person that's on trial, because that's a fifth life. I do take time to go gallivanting around, playing detective, trying to figure out who else could have really done it if Brian didn't do it. But at the same time, I want to stay focused on the actual person that's been arrested. Okay, sometimes if you go running around chasing other scenarios and theories, it's because you ran out of stuff to look at for what's right there in front of your face. The person, we got a suspect, and we haven't worked everything out with him yet. So there's no reason for me to go look at 3 or 4 different scenarios for long until I've worked this one out, because either Bryan Kohberger did it or he didn't, and we haven't solved that problem yet. So I don't want to get ahead of myself and start really spending too much time looking for somebody else to have done it. We haven't laid this to bed yet. We're still talking about his alibi. All right, and it's definitely don't want to jump talking about no appeal, because if they convict him, he going to death row. And if they can't even get documents from the prosecution, they're not going to be playing with this right here. You could be on death row for a long time, and you're going to run out of appeals after a while. If they don't grant them to you, you go into the chair. You go into however they're going to take you out of here, you going. So instead of running around talking about alternative scenarios and suspects, we got a suspect here that we need answers about and that we haven't solved. And so I want to stay focused because, hey, we haven't worked this out right here yet. I know people tired of hearing about Bryan Kohberger, but that's the suspect. That's who they're telling us did it. So I mean, we can't just abandon that because we can't solve it and then go look at other people and other stuff. We've looked at other scenarios. We're gonna continue to do that, but I'm not gonna spend the majority of my time on that because we got a suspect. We got a suspect, and we haven't put a stamp on him totally innocent behind a reasonable doubt yet. At least I haven't, because I don't know where he was. China Rose, shout out to China Rose. One can drive in Washington and Idaho hours and have no contact. Idaho is a long haul in the boonies, and I know as I've driven that area many times. But if I were needing an alibi, I'd find something to anchor me somewhere. All right, you made a good point, China Rose, because looking at on Google Maps, looking at the route that they said he took from Blaine to Uniontown to Genesee. Hold on, let me find it right quick. You made a good point there. Hold on, give me 1 second to pull it up. You made a good point there. Here it is right here. All right, I don't want to pull up a video, but this is exactly what I'm talking about right here. This is a great point. All right. I think this is the route right here. And I don't want to play it. I just want to see it. All right. Now, I looked at Google Maps. I think I need to pull it up a little bit. I looked at Google Maps at the actual roads to look for some stuff. And you are absolutely right. From Blaine to Genesee, those areas over there is, man, it's like wasteland. You don't even see a traffic light. Okay, that's Idaho. I don't know about Washington. All I know is Idaho is like that. I'm gonna pull this up a little bit more. I know is this possible? Not through the booties, but coming back into civilization, you got to pass by some stuff sometime. The majority of your trip might be in the boonies, but once you start getting close to Pullman or close to Moscow or close to the state line, you do stuff. Matter of fact, once you pass from one state into another, and there's way stations and stuff, there's got to be you pass by some stuff. And even if you don't have any receipts or whatever, say where you drove to. Say you drove in the opposite direction. Say you drove in Washington. You was nowhere near Idaho. Don't just say you went for a drive and nobody saw you. Say where you drove. I would feel better even if they say, well, he drove in Washington. He wasn't even in the state of Idaho. We don't even have that. We don't even have that. Good point, Tetra. Did he drive around days, weeks after the crime, or just that night? Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. We know they say they have more surveillance at Albertsons in the city down there on the map there. What is it, Uniontown? Is that where the Albertson was, or it was even further down than that? So if he was down there at that Albertsons, yeah, he by himself, then he does do some driving. If he went all the way down there to Albertsons, then I can say he does do some driving. But I'm talking about his alibi. Where did you drive? Okay, you went for a drive, 2 hours. Where did you drive? Seattle? Where did you go? Something is off because, okay, let's see. What time was he at Albertsons? That's a good question. Let's look. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'll tell you right now. I believe it was noon. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was noon that he was at Albertsons. You know, don't just, if you're going to be fair and we're going to be unbiased as investigators, we can't just brush off. Okay, he was there at 12:49 p.m. I'll show you. I'll show you. Hold on, I'll show you. All right, here it is. It says court documents say, can y'all see it? Court documents say that Brian, court documents say surveillance footage from the Clarkston, that's where it was, Clarkston, Albertson, shows Kohberger exiting the vehicle at 12:49 p.m. Interior surveillance cameras show the suspect walking through the store, purchasing unknown items at the checkout and leaving at approximately 1:04 p.m. So, I mean, there's proof like that he does drive. He does leave Pullman. He does leave Pullman. That's a good thing. All right? He does do some driving. So, why can't they tell us where he was? Why can't they tell us, you know, where did he drive? I mean, we understand that nobody was with him. We understand that. We understand that that there's no eyewitness or whatever available. But where did he drive? If you just say he drove in Washington, he was nowhere in Idaho. I'll take that. I'll take that. Right? I'll take that. I think it's time for somebody to jump on stage. Let me put the link out here. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. Maybe he's just odd. Tetra, that's not going to get in a murder case. That's not going to get in a murder case. He ain't that odd if he on Tinder dating. It's nothing odd. It's nothing wrong with Brian Kohberger. He might have a little stuff on the spectrum, like they say, but as far as, you know, if he made it to graduate school, he's dating people on Tinder, and he's been in a trap before. It's nothing odd about him. There's nothing wrong with him to where he, you know, can't come up with what he needs to come up with to help himself right now. It's nothing wrong with him. Nothing at all. Okay, I don't understand this comment right here. Right, work backwards from Clarkston. How hard is that unless they gave him a memory inhibitor? Okay, I think this is the day. This is the day after. Yeah, this is the day. This was supposed to be out. This was the Sunday that all this stuff was supposed to be going on. This is the Sunday all this stuff is supposed to be going on. This is the Sunday. Okay. Now, the police were called to the house at 12 o'clock, 1122 King Road. He's at Albertsons at 12:49. They told us he passed back by there at 9:30. I can debunk that because that's not his car. I saw the car. That's not his car passing back through there at 9:30 on Sunday. That is not true. But I can say that I can't say he drives, but does this make sense to you? The police got that 12. And they're saying he was at this Albertson getting out of his car at 12:49. Right. He stopped at Kate's cup of coffee or something. Let me get Terry's comment up there. Right. Clarkson and Lewis, and he stopped off in the same town. The coffee place he went to is just before Albertsons. So he was at Kate's cup of something. I can't remember the name of this place. It's a little kiosk type place. Kate's cup of something. He was there first. Then he went to Albertsons. So actually he was in Clarkson probably no later than 12:15. He had to be getting there no later than 12:15 to go to the coffee place, or 12:20, and then go to Albertsons by 12:49. So he had to leave. I don't know. That's exactly what I'm saying, Leslie. He should be able to tell us where he drove. That's what I'm saying. And I'm just knowing a lot of people don't like that, but it's my opinion. I'm not going to change that. If I was a juror, I don't care who it is. I want to know where they were during the time that this crime they're on trial for was committed. I don't care who it is. And it's people that don't want to hear that. I'm sorry, but that's what I stand on. And if I have to talk to 2 or 3 people in here in this live, that's what it's going to be. All right? And anybody that can't handle two-way conversation, okay, without it being something they want to hear, they don't need to be in here. Okay? So I'm not being mean. I'm just saying everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just read the legal definition of an alibi. And all of us have watched enough true crime shows to know the first thing they ask you when you're arrested, or when they come to your house with the little notepad and the pen, the first thing they ask you is where you were when they know the crime occurred. Everybody. And so the fact that this man can only tell us he was driving around is problematic. It's problematic for Ann and her defense team. I'm not saying it makes him guilty. I never said that. I'm saying that makes it an uphill battle, because Robin asked me, why do I think Ann has to dance around all these issues? Because he doesn't have an alibi. She can't get up there and strong arm and bogart her way. She can't do that because she can't say where he was. All the other evidence could be a joke. But that's the reason he's still in jail. If she could go up there in January and tell the judge, look, this man was at the movies in Seattle with 5 other people. What are they talking about? He couldn't have been there. Regardless of where his phone was, he wasn't there. They would at least have to put him out on bond until they got it straight. So don't say the alibi doesn't matter, or that he was going to be where he is today regardless. That's not true. That's not true. China Rose. Between Idaho, Washington, and Oregon is very remote hours. Brown, Oregon, or Idaho, it's a remote. I've driven this March 4 hours off grid on main roads. If you go country, forget it. Mountains and forests, no services. I believe you, China Rose. I believe you. I am not disputing this, because I know just from looking at Google Maps of some of those highways, I was looking for something for proof that maybe we could see whether he passed by some of the areas in the PCA. I was looking for that, and I saw how remote it is. It's scary, really. It's almost like only truck drivers would take some of those roads, almost. But I'm not disputing that at all. What I'm saying is, no matter how remote those areas are, once you start getting close to an actual town where there's a population, you start seeing signs and speed limits and restaurants that's going to be there and stuff. Once you start getting close back to civilization, or once you pass, getting close back to your own hometown. You passed some stuff. Let's say he left Pullman and went all over Oregon, Idaho, Washington, never passed by anything. Once he started getting closer back to Pullman, I would say within a 5 or 10 mile radius of Pullman or Moscow, you start seeing stuff. You start seeing businesses, and some of these businesses that's out on the outskirts of Moscow do have cameras. I've seen them. Once you start getting close to where you live, back to civilization, there's cameras, there's signs, there's traffic, there's welcome signs, there's way stations for the truckers. There's things start popping up that are not out there in no man's land. I'm not saying at all that Bryan Kohberger is guilty because he doesn't have an alibi. That's what people who have Bryan Kohberger's guilty tattooed on their arm, people that got that tattoo, they hear me saying Bryan is guilty because I said he doesn't have an alibi, and that's a problem. What I'm saying is I would feel better about this if I knew where he was, or at least he could say he went driving in Washington. He wasn't driving in Idaho. That's what I'm saying. Right? We're here because we want your opinion, HT. Yeah. I understand, and I believe that, and I want your opinion too. I want somebody to get on the stage for to drop another link. I appreciate that because I have to stand on what I believe. I'm not gonna let anybody, if you believe Bryan is innocent, don't let anybody change his mind. Change your mind. If you believe he's guilty, don't let nobody change your mind. Whatever your gut is telling you, go with that. Stand on that to the end until something else changes or whatever. All right, do what you got to do. But me personally, I don't feel the prosecution has enough to convict this guy, which is a problem because he's been in jail too long for somebody that could be innocent. And at the same time, I feel like the defense, either need to step up or this guy gonna be convicted whether he's innocent or guilty. That's just what I'm saying. And we got Les on stage here. Hold on a second. Let me put her on. Oh, hey Les, you look so pretty.
Oh, I had a long day at work, but thank you. Oh, thank you.
Okay.
I just decided to come on because I feel like I'm friends with you guys, so I thought you can see my face. You love me or you don't. So
Oh yeah, we are friends. God bless you.
So I'm fired up today about several issues. One of them, yeah, I'm really mad at Ann Taylor for the waiving the speedy trial. And I do think that she knew this alibi is a crap alibi. So she should have advised him, think of something better or something that we can pinpoint if he's truly innocent. I think 95% I believe he's innocent. And I'll tell you why. But um I just don't know, like other people have questioned before, whether or not she's really trying to, get him off. I just don't know. You
Right.
know? I don't know a lot about the law and court process, but like I've been learning probably in the last year just through this. And um I didn't, at first people were saying, oh, he doesn't have to give an alibi. It's on the state to prove, guilt. But now listen to what you read to us.
Right.
He needs to if he wants reasonable doubt. And do I think he could have been driving around? He's the insomniac, whatever. Yeah, but again, there should be some cameras. And what drives me crazy is how many times are we looking at cases where the cameras aren't working, and
Right.
it's just such a odd thing. At first, I thought, well, she had him, go with that alibi because the defense was going to try to poke holes in whatever alibi he came up with. And this one, they can't poke a hole in it because it's too vague. But
Right.
now
Right.
I really see what you're saying. It's a crap alibi. It really is.
It
No,
is.
I don't think he's guilty, but what are his lawyers doing? What are they doing?
Well, they're filing papers. A
Yeah.
whole a whole team of uh, a whole team of lawyers, and all we getting is repetitive filings, repetitive filings. I don't see them attacking the prosecution's evidence, in the media or any of that. I just see repetitive filings. And one thing that really people are saying that's really just bewildering to me is that, oh, it's the prosecution, it's the burden of the state to prove where he was. It's the burden of the state to do. Oh, he doesn't have to prove anything. Well, he's locked up. Okay, and a lot of his rights have already been violated for him to be locked up. So you better
Right.
wake up and realize that they're not playing by that playbook that you're talking about right there.
No, and unfortunately, this really makes me mad is that I just see in a lot of other areas of things going on in the world, and I'm not trying to get political, so you can just pick up what I'm putting down there. Um, Things that are going on in other trials that people are just getting railroaded all the time, and people tell me, oh, you just don't like the police or whatever. It's like, no, I just don't trust people in high places at all.
Right,
And I don't know about this judge, her having to ask the ninth time. I'm just like, it, come on. Yeah, it's stupid, it's dumb. It's like they're playing some kind of game and we just don't know exactly what it is yet.
right, right. Exactly. That's what I say. They're playing some kind of game. One thing you said that I have to agree with. You said 95% you believe that he's innocent, and I feel the
Mhm.
same way. The five
Yeah.
percent is alibi. If I could feel comfortable with where he was, I would go to just searching for other scenarios and stuff, and spend my time on that and say, well, this is a wrap. But the reason why I keep making videos about him is because he ain't cleared.
No.
Tetra got it right here. And somebody say, what is the defense doing? Tetra
Yeah,
55 said making money.
that's right. $200 an hour, Tetra.
They're making money. And the
Hmm.
95, the 5%, the reason why I can't say for 100%, number one is the alibi. And number two, I don't like that him and Kopaka lived in the same city somewhere else. That's still on the table for me. Because what are the odds of two people living that close to each other in Pennsylvania? Then we go all the way across the country. I don't know who's watching. Shout out to everybody. Let me put my banner up for international viewers. I'm glad I remembered that. But uh, anybody that's been in the United States knows how big the United States is. From Pennsylvania to Washington is probably it's like going out of Europe, leaving Europe and going out, to
Pretty
another.
odd.
It's a long ways, and so for them to actually, and then across the country, they live what within a mile of each other.
Hmm.
They could have known each other. The only thing that bothers me about that is when they stopped them in Indiana. Seemed to me like Brian's dad would have said, "Oh, Brian knew him, or he was, he was a friend of the family," or he didn't say anything like that. So that made me feel like maybe he did know Kopaka. I want to be objective and subjective. And
Yeah, and
so,
he could have been knowing Kopaka and his dad didn't know. I mean, but then again, yesterday I said I really think Kopaka's involved, and today I completely changed my mind. I mean, it's just I go back and forth on that. But I'll tell you,
yeah,
everything in this case, the whole what happened, what didn't happen, it all comes down to Dylan and Bethany. Every single bit of it, and that's something else I just wanted to say here is like at first when you were saying I don't think they were there, I was like, no, that's crazy. Of course they were there. But now, no, I think you're right. You convinced me with that whole talk about, they would have to be psychopaths to sit there and text while hearing all that go on. Um and I believe they weren't there, but I believe they were warned. I believe they were told something was going to happen. I
yeah,
really
yeah,
do. So I believe
yeah.
they're up to their necks in this, and I'm just thinking, what does Ellie have on them? You know, because I believe that statement, that DM statement, was totally manipulated by them. Of course, we all know
Right,
that.
right.
What do they have on these girls?
Well, that's a very powerful question because if they were in the house, seemed to me like they would just say they weren't there.
Right.
And I don't have anything to do with this. But remember the tattoos. Maybe they
Yeah.
don't have anything on them. Maybe they just more than willing to be a part of this like it is. You see? Because they was on social media showing the tattoos. So somebody that just want to forget this nightmare and be far removed is not going to do something like that. Not that fast.
I'll tell you, I've been in a situation not nearly as heinous as that, but where I was really, really in shock over something somebody I loved did, and I was really, really hurt, and I was in a state of shock for like probably a month.
Yeah.
And okay, my ex husband, he had cheated on me and done some really heinous things and whatever, and then he talked. I mean, in my state of shock, like a week later, he talked me into getting matching tattoos with him, which was so dumb. So I'm just saying, people can do things like on automatic pilot, but those girls, I feel like it's trophies for them.
Yeah, but that was your
Honestly.
husband. Y'all had a
Right.
vow. Y'all
Yeah.
had a vow in the spiritual realm. That's a whole
Right.
different bond than a roommate. That's not the
Yeah.
same. That's not the same type of bond. They weren't married to each other in that house.
Yeah.
And for all
Yeah.
we know, they didn't like each other. So look how Dylan was looking when in that picture with Kaylee with the
She
mirror
hated her.
holding it up.
Yeah.
Mm,
And
that
I don't think I've seen any pictures but one with just Kaylee and Dylan together, and that was that night. Am I right?
I haven't either. And I just feel like it looked almost demonic how she was looking at her while she
Yeah.
was looking at herself. I don't know
Right.
if she realized that, but if it was me, if I was DM and I saw that picture, I would destroy it. I wouldn't want nobody to see me looking at somebody like that.
Right.
I
And
mean,
didn't she post it at like 3:30 in the morning or something?
that's but you that's a powerful question. Why are they cooperating? And really, it was just DM. It's like Bethany is just not coming on board with this because Bethany had gotten out of Dodge, and to the way I see it, she was not coming to testify to anything. And then once Ann Taylor subpoenaed her, now all of a sudden we hearing that she was a witness too. You see, because for the first from January to May, Bethany was like a mystery. Everybody was saying, why is Bethany not? Why is her statement, what she actually said to police, not in the PCA? Everybody was saying, well, what role does Bethany play in this? We all were saying that until the subpoena. We all were saying that. And then we were like, oh, she's got exculpatory evidence for Brian. Oh, that's what, And now we're hearing what? Not only did DM see the person was in the house, Bethany was there, and she had to be there because she was texting Dylan. If Dylan can't be anywhere else but we're in her room, opening her, close her door, because they put that in writing on paper. So now, if Bethany was texting her, she had in her room texting her, she had to be there too. This is where they're leading us.
And that's when Ann needs to find out the location of their phones when they were texting. I mean, the PCA doesn't give a detailed statement from Bethany, but it says they base the timeline on the roommates' accounts. So they
on
kind of
their phone.
Yeah, on their phone and their accounts. So they snuck her in like that, but without a real statement. So I'm just saying, like, I think Bethany ran because she's scared of all of it. I don't think she's the one. They said she was afraid to come back and testify because the defendant would be intimidating her. Well, that's garbage. I mean, I think she's afraid of the police.
Could be. It could be that she's got her common sense that she does not need to be involved in this. It might have been glamorous and cute at the beginning, but then
Right.
as it unfolded, she realized that this is not a game, that this is a quadruple murder case, and that it's not funny. It's not something that you can play around with. It's people out there that have very deep emotions running deep on both sides, prosecution and defense. You could be in danger. It's crazy people out there that the same people that get mad and leave your video or your live or whatever and unsubscribe and leave you nasty notes. Them the same people that'll see you on the street and do something to you.
Yeah.
It's people that come and do something to you on the street because of your beliefs.
That's crazy.
Just because of what they believe. So I mean, Bethany family was like, probably you need to step back from this, you know. And I don't blame them. I was shocked that they allowed that Dylan's family allowed her to give a statement, even if she was there. Everything she said was exactly like it was. I'm shocked that they let her give a statement, because to me, the first person they should have called when all this happened was their parents.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If I was in this situation, I'm at college and my roommates are in the house, passed away. First thing I'm gonna do is call my mama and daddy, and they're gonna advise me. Okay, I might call them before I call the police and say, "Mom, they in here and they deceased," or "Mom, you know, somebody came here and did something." I'll be tripping. You know, my parents will have to call me down and tell me what to do. I wouldn't call them after the fact, because I might say I do something wrong and they'll be like, "Why you didn't call us first? You shouldn't have said that. Why did you call us first? You should have went down there. You know, you should have waited for us to give you an attorney. You know, they're old enough to question without an attorney. That's a big problem. I think, do you have to be 21 or 18 without a parent?
18.
Yeah, they're old enough. So
I mean, now the more I think about it as I'm talking to you, and it just depends on my mood in the day, I'm starting to wonder if they are psychopaths, because I just remembered hearing that Bethany's traveling, got engaged. That might not be true. That's just something I heard. And I'm
right.
like, that's crazy.
Well,
Just
maybe
don't care.
well, not if they were engaged for a long time.
No,
And
like
right
she
now
just got
she's
engaged. Like she
oh,
just got engaged.
if they
But
were
that
there,
could just be a bunch of rumor. I don't put a lot of
it
stock in
could
that.
be. But I won't even hold that against her, because if she was dating a guy for a long time and they were planning that anyway, you know, maybe right now the guy stepped up because he knows she needs some emotional support and said, "I'm gonna go ahead and, you know." So I don't hold that against her if she is engaged. But what I would tell parents is, if you got a child at university, you need to have your child trained to contact you first if anything jump off, so you can advise your child, because they, even though they're at the university, they're not adults yet mentally. And so, you know,
well, look at Xana. She called her dad, he said, the night of at midnight, and told her about Ethan getting in a fight with David Loach. I mean, these kids should tell their parents stuff.
right.
They all seem to have, good family background, regardless. Well, except for Xana, but let's not talk about that. Um, but yeah, I mean, they all. Dylan's parents obviously care about her. Bethany seems like her parents do. So, I think Ellie got a hold of them before they even thought of. I don't think they. I don't know. I don't think their parents had any idea it would be like this.
Okay, I think what you're hitting on right now is the possibility of our drug theory and stash house and all the stuff that was going on in that house. That might stop them from calling their parents right away, and that would definitely have them having to cooperate with the police if there was drugs and drug money in the house.
Oh, now, I agree with you. I haven't put that theory to bed. To me, that's the number one motive for all of it. That it always has been. But that could just be because of my background and where I've come from, and that I work in a rehab. I don't know. Seen and heard a lot of stuff, but yeah, that could be the very reason that Ellie has this on them. It's like, well, and Quinn too, Dylan's boyfriend.
Because they weren't there either. If you look at when they had the tape around it, I'm talking about when it first happened. And they were going around talking to people in the neighborhood, canvassing the neighborhood, and they had the tape around. None of the boyfriends were over there, the vehicles, none of the, it's like, this is a Saturday night, game night, busy night for Idaho, the college, and so you can't really blame the college but for so much, because there was a lot going on in that house before this happened. This shouldn't have been going on.
A lot. And speaking of that, Dylan and Bethany didn't have a car there, when they did the crime scene tape, and their cars weren't there.
Right. Them or their boyfriends. And
right.
To me, that's too much of a coincidence. That's too much coincidence. And Hunter was over there all the time. I believe they said, if I'm not mistaken, they said Hunter was the one that called 911.
That's what Mrs. G said.
Yeah, I believe he was too, because every time something happened, he was at the door. He was at the
He
door.
was. He sure was.
Every time you turn around and you see him in that doggone necklace, I believe he was right there calling 911. Somebody even said that he went and took Ethan's post.
Yeah, I think that came from Mrs. G as well.
Okay,
I
well,
don't know.
he didn't get a post, so why did they say unconscious person? If he checked the post, he didn't get one. So why
Right.
did you say unconscious person?
Do you think we'll ever hear that 911 call?
Yes, I think
You
sooner or later.
do?
Yeah, it always gets leaked. Stuff always get leaked. Listen, now that this trial is not going to be the speedy trial, I expect somebody at Whitcomb that heard the 911 to leak it. Somebody in that group, they can get stone cold paid just for leaking the audio, or at least leaking a statement, a text voicemail or what happened, where you can actually read what was said. Somebody will leak it, because they don't know when they're going to be able to sell their story at trial now.
True.
They don't know, they were holding out for trial where they could come in and say, hey, this is what happened, and get that check. But now we don't know when or if there's going to be a trial. So
Well, let me ask you one more thing before I get off here. I'm wondering. I literally just had on the tip of my tongue. Um, Shoot, I'll ask it in chat as soon as I remember.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I know what I want to ask you. Who do you think is leaking the Linda Lane stuff? Because it seems like they're leaking a little bit at a time.
I think influence are leaking Linda Lane stuff. I think a lot of this audio and stuff is manufactured, because
I
there's
think
cameras all over Linda Lane. I don't see anybody doing anything over there other than not even pulling in and pulling out, because there's so many cameras. It was the first camera shot we saw, was reported, was the car on Taylor Avenue right there at Queen Road, or whatever it is, and it was from Linda Lane, and that was the first surveillance they really showed us and said. And then now there's another one of that car backing in and pulling in and parking at Linda Lane. Okay, so I mean, it's cameras all over there. And whoever would plan something like this, that's the last place they would do anything, because it's so hot. You can see in there, it's wide open. I believe whoever's reporting it is making it up. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I don't. I've not seen anything. Oh, somebody just sent you something.
Yep. I want to give a shout out to Terry Sleuth for $5 super sticker, super chat. Leslie keeps an open mind.
Thank you, Terry. I try to.
She does. She does.
I try, but I was gonna say I've never seen anything on those Linda Lane tapes that shows me anything. Nothing that I can go, oh, look at that, look at that. I mean, you see people running around, stuff like that. I think the audio is definitely fabricated, but I haven't really seen anything that, I don't know why people are making a big deal about it. That's just me. Um, I feel like a lot of people force themselves to see things when they really want to. I can't take it there. So I don't know.
Right. You're on the right track. Thank you so much, Terry, for the
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that too. I'm gonna jump off, and hopefully a bunch of other people jump on.
Okay. Well, okay. Thank you so much, Liz.
All right. Have a good one. I'll see you in chat.
All right. See you in chat. Okay, I'm gonna put another link out. Maybe somebody else stop being chicken. Bark, bark, bark. Somebody stop being chicken. Bark, bark, bark. Jump on the stage. Let's see what you got to say. Y'all listen to me all week. I want to hear what you have to say. Les always comes and jumps in and gives us a little different perspective. Come on now. Who's next? Cindy, China Rose, Robin Latham, Tell It to L. Shout out to Tell It to L. Y'all, come on. Who's next? Who's next? I want to talk about Kopaka a little bit. I know y'all probably tired of it, but I want to bring up the second typology. The last week we talked about the pseudo commando, the military element, the knife sheep, and how somebody did this would have an arsenal of weapons in their house. Somebody that did this under that profile wouldn't do it for monetary gain, or there wouldn't be any type of, rape or assault in that type of thing. Now I want to talk about the disciple. And as you know, we were talking about the pseudo commander. Disciple means that there was a ringleader. Okay, the disciple typology is somebody was following somebody else, or some people were following somebody else. And unfortunately, Kopaka fits that one also. He had two 20-year-old roommates. It's possible he knew Brian. That's four right there. That's a crew. I'm just saying, the disciple typology, it shows that there was a ringleader, and that you need to figure out who the ringleader is. And in my video, the last one, the ringleader was Charles Manson, and he was telling how he told the people that he sent to do the murder to leave something. I'm trying to find it right quick. And I thought that was extremely interesting because there was, as far as we know, there was something left at the scene. Now, I'm going to give you your first poll. See what you think about this. I'm going to give you your first poll in the chat. Hold on one second. All right, it's coming up. It's coming up. I'm going to give you your first poll. Okay, here it is. It's just a yes or no. All right, there you go. Do you believe that there was actually a sheath left at the crime scene, or at, anywhere in the room? Wow. Nobody believes the sheath was actually left at the scene. That's interesting. All right. What about the possibility that the sheath was left as a calling card and law enforcement just added the DNA to it and said, you're our guy? What about that? Huh? Who's next? I'm going to keep putting this link up there. Somebody's going to take it. Carly Miles, what's going on? You ready to come up here? Blah, blah. You ready to come up here, blah? Huh? What's going on? What about the possibility of, I need to pull this clip up. It's very short. It's not even, you won't even have to sit for more than a minute. I just want to show you just a little tap of it. Just give me 1 minute of your time. It's already cut up to pieces, but I'm going to make it even shorter. Hold on, I'm changing the screen now. Okay, let me turn that off and get to the part. All right, here's the clip. I want you to check this out right quick, and this will be our next talking point. All right, here we go. Here we went. Let me turn the volume up. All right, check this out. Oh, this is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. Hold on, y'all. That's the wrong one. Hold on 1 minute. Wrong one. Okay, this is it here. And then the questions at the end, we can look at those also. I'm loading it. Turn that off. I want you to think about this in terms of having a ringleader in this group, because even if it was the frats, who was the ringleader? Even if it was organized crime, who was the leader? If it was the students that were crowded around and blah, 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 who was the ringleader? Who was the one that started this? That's what I want to know. Who started it? Because if more than one person did this, and I believe they did, I think most people believe that, who was the ringleader? Who orchestrated it? Somebody had to. All right, here we go.
Which house? Which night?
The house on Shallow Drive, the Tate house. Why did they go there that night? Why they
Which
went
house?
there?
Which night?
The house on Shallow Drive, the Tate house. Why did they go there that night?
Because Tex had been there before, and he went to a familiar place.
And why did they kill people that night? What did they think they
Because
were doing for you?
they freaked out, man. Tex was stoned. You got everybody was loaded, man.
He said he wasn't. He said he was coming off an LASD trip. He had a little speed.
Little speed. Well, not around me. He didn't have no speed because I wouldn't allow no speed on that ranch.
But what did they think they were doing for you?
They wasn't doing anything for me.
What did they think they were doing for you?
Okay. If you are me and I am you, everything you do is for you, it's for me too.
So what did they think?
If you're in
they
one
were
mind, if
achieving
I
for
am you and you are me and we are all together, and then who's responsible for come together over me right now? It's all his fault. Oh, no, it's his fault. No, we put another false face on it. It's Halloween. It's your fault. So now, wait a minute. Criminal behavior is the same. It's mundane in most minds. Criminal will always go to a familiar place. Tex had been to that here's the division between your mind and my mind. Here's where the chamber opens up. A rebel. I got my rights in the 76 courtroom. If you don't give me my rights in the courtroom, then I become King George. And I got all the rights then. And when I stand on the mountain and I say, do it, it gets done. If it don't get done, then I'll move on it. And that's the last thing in the world you want me to do, because I got that Confederate sword in the kitchen. Don't invoke me. Do it. Get it done. How do we do it? I don't know. I don't want to be involved in it. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. In Japan, they call it ninja.
Yeah, he's really.
I don't get involved in violence. I'm not a violent human being.
Did you tell the women to do their witchy things?
I said, if you're going to do something, leave something witchy. Just like I would tell you, if you're going to do something, do it well and leave something witchy. Leave a sign to let the world know that you were there.
Now, if that's not a psychopath, I don't know what is. But some of what he said, it went along with the study that I was reading. The first thing is why he said he had his Confederate sword in his kitchen. And the first thing I thought about was the machete or whatever that is that was in Kopaka's apartment with the blue bow around it. Now, what do y'all think about that? What do you think about that? And then he told him to leave something at the scene. That kind of changed my mind a little bit about the sheep. I'm like, maybe they did leave something. Killers do leave calling cards. I mean, they do. Killers do leave calling cards. But maybe the sheep was there and they just added the DNA. All they had to do was put a drop of DNA on it. Oh yeah, you left this? Okay. But then the only reason I don't believe that somebody left it is because they keep moving it. If they would have stuck to the story that was on Maddie's left side, I would say maybe there was a sheep. But the fact that they keep moving the sheep, now I'm thinking it's something wrong here. Okay, Davino is coming on stage. I think Charles Manson must have made him mad. All right, come on, Davino.
I'll smack the shit out of that guy. That guy was a douchebag.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but
You can't be cursing. You can't be cursing, Davino.
I'm sorry. I'm Italian. I apologize. Okay. Merda. There you go. Merda. That means that. Okay. There you go. Or vaffanculo. There you go. Right. But anyway, tu facci il culo così. There you go. But anyway, how you been? I'm the real deal. I speak the truth, and how I am right now is how I am in person. But I'm quiet more.
You listen. I brought you in, and the first word I heard was something and D-bag.
Yeah, that guy was a D-bag big time. I hate that. I hated that man. Those people were so defenseless, they didn't know how to take care of themselves. It was the element of surprise. I mean, when you show up with a gun, what are you gonna do? Everybody's just gonna give in, to their orders.
Right.
And that's what happened to Sharon Tate. God rest her soul. What a beautiful woman. And what they did to her. If that were my sister, oh my God, the East River would have been their freaking home.
Now, what do you think about him saying he had the sword in his kitchen and he told him to leave something at the scene?
You're talking about Manson, you're talking about Idaho 4.
I'm talking about Manson first. I want to connect it, but just what he said about telling them to leave something when they went to that house.
Well, I think it's kind of something like I guess the way I'm going to put it is like, okay, now you have to find out who did this, or, now you got to catch me, or something like that. I think he was playing the game. I mean, he enjoyed it. And that's how I look at it.
All right. Well, what do you think about the Idaho 4 now? Does that make you feel like the sheet could have been left by the killers and then the police just put DNA on it?
Okay, I saw something today. This is really wild, and this was mentioned before. But there was some girl that wrote in or something. Was one of the TikToks that popped up, and I guess someone in the family was a FBI agent, and they said that the sheet was actually found under Ethan's body.
What?
Yeah, this was what they said. These are not my words; these are their words. I'll have to find it, but it was interesting. And they also said, you want to get into like horrified stuff, that what happened to Ethan, and I heard this before, that they just literally sliced him right down the back of his legs to his hamstrings.
Wow. Now, is this
Now, I believe
story?
that, because that would explain a lot of the blood from seeping from outside that house. I don't care what anybody says. I have argued with people on these things. Listen, if you guys say BK one more time did this, there is no way in hell someone could have committed those brutal, sadistic murders like that. I mean, it was beyond. It was brutal. I mean, whatchamacallit was stabbed 54 times and beaten to hell, and her face was all smashed in. Nobody could even identify her. And that was Kay.
Yeah.
And people don't understand. One person wouldn't do that. It wasn't personal. That was vindictive 100%.
Right.
So they were sending a message.
What do you say about people saying 2 of the bodies were moved from some other place?
Well, I think here's what I think might have happened. I don't know if this all took place in these bedrooms, which I don't believe. I think this all took place either on the second floor or upstairs on the third floor. And whatever group did this, they probably carried those, possibly brought them back down and put them on the bed to look like it took place, in the bedrooms. But I don't believe that it did.
What do you think about it? Two of them being unalived at a totally different location outside the house and then being brought back there.
Well, that's what I said. I mean, because they said supposedly something might have happened over there on Queens Road, not Linda Lane, but Queens Road in the alley, and then supposedly E was beaten with one of his golf clubs or something like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And they had X to watch it, and then they might have pulled her hair back or something that they said, and then they might even had a gun to her head. And then once he was finished off, then they took care of her. They might have carried him back, but I don't know why you would do that, because how could anyone not hear those screams? And to carry people back, to the house would be pointless.
Right.
So I don't know about that. I mean, that's a possibility, but I can't say that's true.
Okay. Another problem that I have with that, because for some reason AF is sold on this theory. I don't know if he still agrees with it or not. But somebody said that early on, I think Xana's father said that she called him at about midnight. And so he said that she was at home. And I think he said she was eating pizza or something like that. So if she was home, Ethan was home. So how could he be home and then be out somewhere else where something happened to them if Xana's father said that Xana called him at midnight or around that time and that she was at home?
Right. And also, if she was eating beets, I was going to say pie, then why the hell would she have a DoorDash delivery of Jack in the Box around 4 o'clock in the morning?
Right. And they probably have food at the frat house if they
Of
were
course.
having something. I don't believe the DoorDash. I never
I
believe.
think I just think that's a cover up. I really do.
I think whoever's selling drugs in that neighborhood uses
Yeah.
DoorDash as a front. That's as far as I'll go with the DoorDash theory. But as far as delivering her some food at 4 a.m.,
Yeah.
I don't even believe. I mean, most girls, their man would go and get the food from the door. If 4 something in the morning, you dress for bed, hopefully, and if she was getting food, Ethan would be the one to go down to the door and get it, not Xana.
Yeah, that's true. That would make no sense. Yeah.
I don't think my man, if I'm in a house and I'm chilling with my guy and I order some food 4 o'clock in the morning, he's gonna go get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope so, or I'll be looking at him like, you don't mind me going to the door,
Yeah. And this whole thing with D and B, I mean, I'm not buying it one bit. I don't really think they were in the house. And if they were in the house, then they were texting back and forth. They knew what was going to transpire. And then they said they called the roommates. Well, that would make no sense. It's your house. Why would you call your roommates? Why would you just go knock on their doors or just find out what the hell's going on?
Right,
I mean,
just come on out
make
and
any
go
sense.
see. Well, there's a big problem with that anyway, because according to the PCA, Dylan heard whimpering and crying and somebody and stuff. Well, obviously somebody was in distress, and y'all never came out and never called the police. To me, that's insulting my intelligence for you to try to get me to believe that.
Well, yeah, it makes complete sense. I mean, the first thing you're gonna be on the phone with 911. You're gonna figure out what the hell's going. I mean, if that's my house and I'm here, I'm running out there. I mean, There's no way I'm gonna hide in my room. I don't think so. And when someone, right, and when someone would say, it's okay, I'm going to help you, that's more of a first responder words.
Right. So
not so much of a I don't even believe that. I think that was all made up. Because
they texted back and forth. The dog is in Kaylee's room, just nice and calm. He doesn't mind what's going on. They hear it, and they're texting back and forth. The dog hears it, and at some point is right up there on the same floor with him. Matter of fact, somebody had to put him in there, and he's all right with all of that. He's not barking his head off to see what's going on in the house.
Oh my God! But not on me. My corgis would be going ballistic if that was going on. They would want to go bite their ass, as part of my friends, but they would want to just bite the hell out of them.
You put him in the room, and he didn't like that. First of all,
not gonna happen. They would go nuts. That's like taking a pit bull or a German Shepherd and put it in that room. They would try to break through the door.
Yeah, any dog, and as spoiled as Murphy was, just putting him in the room to where he can't come run around and do whatever he wants to do. It seems to me that would make him bark, even if nobody was in the house doing anything. Just for him to be on lockdown, it doesn't seem to me like he would have went along with that, because on every video on TikTok where you see Murphy, he's on somebody's lap, he's up there on the sofa, all them girls' faces.
Yeah, he's a friendly doggy. Yeah, he is. This is my theory in the whole take. It's either something transpired from the frat house, whatever this argument when Xana was over there with E, and that could have brought something over, or possibly just that when either these people were waiting for them in the house, or they let them in and something transpired way beyond that, and it turned ugly. But I have a feeling they were ambushed. I don't think nobody showed up at the house, because if this was a group, they're not going to do that. They're there to take care of business, TCB. And I'm not buying that one, but I think they were ambushed. I really do.
Okay, well, that goes along with the study that I've been talking about this week, because they said the commando type, when they do a crime like this, it's deliberate and it's planned out for a while.
It's premeditated. Yeah, this didn't happen overnight. I talked to some of my military buddies, and they said the same thing. I said, there's no way in hell that this was just a sporadic, type of thing. This was all premeditated 100% with intent, with malice to do serious harm. I mean, serious harm.
Yeah, that's what the study says. It says when the commando type is in charge of the crime, It's planned out. It's deliberate, and they planned it for a long time, and they're not looking for any extrinsic reward. It's a psychological reward, and so
That's it. It's a trophy. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think whatever they did to so and so, they definitely took parts or something, or maybe even organs. Forgive me for saying, but that was their trophy.
No, but they said, you know what? That's the first time I've heard that, because it's rumors going around that organs were taken, especially from Kaylee.
They were. Well, that's what I'm meaning at. I'm not trying to.
That would be the reward.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to say really too much on it, but I'm trying to be as discreet as possible. But yes, I believe, and that is a given, because a lot of groups that do things like this, and I'm going to be discreet about this because I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm just going to say that they take things like that for trophies.
Wow.
And for their pleasure. And I'm not kidding. They would put it in a jar, and I'm going to just leave it at that because I'm not going to go into detail of growing up, but I'm just going to say they do things like that, and that is a reminder, a memory of basically and they live that memory and they enjoy it.
Put it in a jar. Listen, Jeffrey Dahmer would have ate it.
Good dairy. There you go. Good dairy. Yeah.
He would have ate it.
Yeah, he would have. But who knows? Who's to say these people didn't do that? Who knows?
Well, I do know one Italian word that you taught me from last time. Do you want me to tell you what it is?
Italian? Yeah, it's Italian. But yeah, what is it?
It's Italian instead of Italian.
Right. There you go.
Got it.
Italian.
Okay, the word is cucina for kitchen.
Yeah, cucina. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Another cucina in my kitchen. There you go.
Now show me one more word so we can get back to the case.
So what?
I need to learn one more word.
Okay, Sieni, which means dog.
You gotta say it slow.
Sieni.
Sieni.
That means dog.
Dog? That doesn't sound like it means dog.
Sieni. Sieni. Sienne. Sieni, yeah.
Oh wow, that's hard. Okay, but
I'll tell you what. You can just say godari, which means enjoy.
Okay, godari, enjoy.
There you go. Very good. Benvenuto. Very good. Molto bon. Very good. That means very good. Okay.
Now I got 2 words. One
there
more,
you go.
and I'm start telling people.
And you could also say molto bon, which means very good.
All
okay.
Right.
Or tutto bene, which means always good. I could keep going on and on, but
yeah,
I don't want to
overloaded now. I'm being overloaded now.
There you go. Okay. I like to sing. Yeah.
Let me stick with my 2 words right here.
There you go.
Godari and cucina.
Enjoy. There you go. Enjoy your kitchen. There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Now listen. I hope y'all learning too in the chat. Listen, we gotta go to. It's good to learn another language and another culture.
Yeah, it helps. Yeah, it helps.
All right, let me go to another comment and see if you can help us out. Because we can go backtrack too. What do you think about the fact that Bryan Kohberger's alibi is that he was just driving around?
Well, I think that actually is an alibi because I do that a lot of times. I live by the beach, so there's times I'll just get in my car and I'll even take my dogs and I'll just go for a drive just along the beach, just to help myself think. So that is a possibility. But
I'm saying from the perspective of a juror trying to establish his whereabouts,
right?
Would that be good enough for you?
As long as he wasn't near the destination, yeah.
Okay, I said that. I said, well, why can't they say he was driving in Washington? He wasn't, he wasn't driving in Idaho. He went for a long drive. He doesn't have any witnesses to corroborate it, but he was driving in Washington. We don't have that either. All we have is that he was driving around.
No GPS tracker on this car?
No, they took the black box off his model. I checked. Hyundai stopped putting the black box in 2015. So the only tracker they could have was his phone. Or
it's a witness knowing the fact that he was home. Or
he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have any corroborated witnesses to say he was driving or I was riding with him or he stopped here for gas. We don't have that yet. We don't have any of that. As a matter of fact,
Taylor's going to have a hell of a challenge on this one. I'll tell you that much.
That's what I said, and everybody got mad at me. That's what I said.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
That's what I said.
She's going to have a hard time to prove this. I mean, that's going to be tough because, in my opinion, these jurors were already somehow picked for us, in a certain way. And I'm talking not the normal way how they would pick jurors for a case in court. Okay. I'm not saying it's biased, nothing like that, but I'm just saying that Ann Taylor's going to have a hell of a time to prove this because that's going to be tough for him.
I said the same thing, and
how can anybody argue with that? How is he going to prove it? Unless someone comes forward, unless they cross-examine these girls and badger them on the witness stand, it's the only way it's going to work.
Right. Well, I think Ann Taylor has a case by the simple fact that the phone pings and the white car sightings is not going to get it without the DNA. But
right, the DNA makes no sense because I saw also in that thing they said that the DNA somehow gone back to a relative in the family, but it has nothing to do with him. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
On the sheet. But also with Ann Taylor, she has a work cut out for her, I'm gonna tell you right now.
She does.
And if I were Brian, I would be praying to God on this one.
Yeah.
This is serious. And I don't know how he thinks he's going to be exonerated unless someone's going to come forward that he knows about and they're going to clear him. But I haven't heard any new names being mentioned yet. I have heard about the girls that there's a lot more coming out about them, that they know a lot more than what they're really saying.
Right. Well, so far, they said that his driving around is uncorroborated. They said that when they first gave the alibi. Because I don't care who is arrested for what. The first thing they ask you when it comes to a crime is where were you on the night of November 13th? Or where were you the wee hours of November the 14th? That's the first thing they would ask anybody. And the first thing that I would want to know as a juror is where he was. You saying he wasn't there. You don't have any evidence that he was in the house at all. They don't have any evidence that man was in that house. Not even the DNA. Because it can be proven that DNA got on the sheet somewhere else. But they can't place him there. But at the same time, you can't tell me where you were. And that, to me, as a juror, that would be a problem for me. I would want to know where this guy was.
But here's still my mystery to the whole thing is that I still don't know how whoever did this walked out of that house without tracking any blood anywhere going outside that house, unless they had some kind of tarps or something that they put down. But even so, you have blood on you somewhere. It just doesn't add up.
Okay, y'all told us, you and I think it was One Made Nut told us last week. Yeah. I don't know why my voice sounds like this. But you told us last week, y'all was saying that the cleanup crew came afterwards and cleaned up the scene. Right. But I'm confused about that because the pictures that I'm looking at when they first taped off the house and news was there that same afternoon when the police were called 911, there was no blood on the doors. That when they opened the front door going in and out, there was no blood right there in the foyer. There was nothing. And that was before somebody could have came from a cleaning crew to clean up. To me, it should have been some on those doors, if nothing else, just opening the door to leave.
Yeah, I just have a premonition that house was such a massacre beyond a massacre that there was blood everywhere in that house, not just in the bedrooms. It was everywhere.
That's
mainly.
What the police said. That's what the police and the coroner said, and they said the smell of blood would run you out of there. Yeah,
it's sulfur. It's fresh, it's sticky, and if you're not used to being around something like that, you'll either throw your brains up or pass out.
I just don't understand how two 20-year-olds, could come out of their room, smell all of this stuff, and they say first they were telling us somebody fainted. Okay. I just, it was so
I don't, like I said, I said this before, I think I said this last week when we had our conversation. I don't think they were there.
I don't either.
I think that D knew this was going down as well as B, and I think her boyfriend picked her up and got her the hell out of her before all hell broke loose.
Right. I don't think they were there either.
No.
I don't think they were there either. And I think that the prosecution just needs witnesses. They need witnesses because that phone pings and those car sightings, that's not going to get it.
No,
Even
it's not going to get it. And the
without
thing
an
is,
alibi, it's going to be a problem for them.
right?
I mean-
And yeah, and then when Dee described, what the person looked like, that's your everyday intruder, like that, a mask, dressed in black.
Right.
I mean, that's nothing new that we haven't heard. I mean, that's just that almost sounds like something out of a movie.
Right.
That's why I'm not buying it. If you weren't really there, just say you weren't there, but don't
Right.
make up stuff and say you were there, because you're not going to freeze all night. It's impossible.
Right.
I talked to friends of mine that were over in Iraq tours, and they had situations, but they didn't freeze all night. They just froze for a couple seconds at times, but it wasn't like that.
Right. And you weren't frozen when you was texting back and forth.
Right, exactly. So what's interesting also in that thing I caught was they, after this happened, they didn't call 911. They called all their friends over there, which made no sense.
Right.
And
right.
But why wouldn't you call 911 when this was going on? Why would you wait?
Unless the
That
friends
doesn't
were
make
already
it.
there.
Yeah, I just don't know how
already
these girls. What was that?
You know what I think? I think Dylan and Bethany could have been texting each other from wherever they were outside the house, and their text kind of let on that they knew that it was going to happen.
Right.
Either that, or drugs that were involved, and for that reason they have to be witnesses, so they don't get charged with anything. Because if they got their phones and they're saying they were there and this or that happened based on their phone records, I'm thinking those phone records might indicate that they knew it was going down. That's why they weren't there in the first place.
Exactly. They might have had some kind of code in their text messages that no one could figure out. So if anyone looked at their texts, they would understand what it meant. Because people do that all the time.
It probably wasn't even coded. They probably didn't even think that far ahead. They probably just talking just regular. I wonder, if it's going to happen for real and all this stuff like that. And then the police were like, either your kids going to be witnesses for us or they're going to be in there with Koberger, and then it was a trap house. So maybe it was a stash in there, and maybe they're involved with that. Them and their boyfriend, me and Les were talking about that, where they have to be witnesses, because for some reason Dylan and Bethany are witnesses, whether they want to be witnesses or not.
They're being subpoenaed 100%. They don't have a choice. And the thing is, you're right about that. Exactly what you said. I mentioned about the D scenario. When you screw with someone's merchandise or product, you're done. Or as we say, kutanote, you're done. That's it. You know what that means. But you're done. That's it, because that's it. You're done. They don't want to hear it. They don't care if you came up with, you have the money for it. They don't want to hear it. It doesn't matter. That was for somebody else. You're done. That's it. There is no Mr. Nice Guy. That's it. It's just mayhem. That's it.
That's it. And it's no such thing as telling somebody not to be home when we do it or nothing like that. Whoever that was there was going down.
Yeah, I remember growing up and stuff, in Brooklyn, and someone just messed with someone's nothing wasn't even near like that, and they were put into a coma. I'm just being honest, and I don't know who did, like I said, but this was some serious stuff. And what I thought was interesting, that with Ann Taylor, I would have thought they would have spent a lot more time in that house, because I think they're only in there for 2 days. If that were me, because usually every time when you leave a situation, or if you leave an area, there's always something that you overlooked. You're always going to have to go back and go back. Because what's eating at you. There's something that's not making sense. This puzzle's got to be solved. And what are these missing pieces? There's things that I know that are there. We have to find. And I just don't think 2 days was enough time to spend in that house.
Does anybody know how long it was before Ann got there? How long did it take Ann Taylor to actually get to the crime scene?
I don't know, but I don't think it happened recent. I think it took a little while. Maybe was it like a week or something, maybe?
Now, see, that's not good either. That's not good either.
No, it's not. Because if you're delaying something like that and stalling, that just shows that there's something up. I mean,
nobody was in a rush to get there. The coroner didn't get there.
I know, that's what was strange. Yeah, a coroner is on the scene immediately.
Yes.
They don't make you wait hours and show up. They're there. They're like the first ones on the scene, next to the 5-0,
Well,
or the EMTs.
She said the reason why she didn't get there until 5:30 was because of law enforcement. She said that on camera.
Yeah, I know. I caught that. I don't like that woman. She's hiding a lot of stuff, and if you watch her interview, you could just see just things are just not. Her juggler is just twitching. You could just see things. She's not being straight about a lot of things.
She couldn't be straight up. She said she just got reelected. She was smiling real hard, and as soon as they started asking her questions about the case, her whole
She looked
demeanor
away.
changed.
She looked away. And then when you look away from someone when they're talking to you, that means you're not being truthful about something or about a bunch of things.
All right. Now let me ask you this.
Yep.
What do you think about the Gonsalves involvement and all that they've been doing and interviewing and talking about the case all over the place?
Right.
Do you think that's helping or hindering?
Well, in a way, I wouldn't say it's hindering, but I mean, I heard that they might even release this gag order. It's a possibility. I don't know if that's going to take place. Steve has said some things. Basically, the mother did say when I caught this, she said that meaning her daughter was stabbed so many times and beaten. That didn't even come out until later on. But I think in a way it's helping the case because now it's starting, people are starting to understand the truth and what the LE and everybody else is hiding, from the media or the public. So I think in a way it's good as long as it is the truth. But I just hope it's the truth. He's not just making up stuff.
Right.
Because then that's definitely going to hurt the case.
Yeah, they said that Kaylee was abused more.
Bad. She got the worst. She got beaten so bad, and they said about 54 times. What happened from there, and you couldn't even recognize her face. Her face was literally smashed in. So if that were the case, this was definitely not one person, and this definitely was not personal. And I hope everybody hears this in their chats because this is not a personal, unalive situation. It's far from not even close.
Right, I agree. Now, if in the fact that it was that many blows just to one person,
that
alone negates the fact that the PCA is saying all this happened in like 8 or 9 minutes because
no way.
It was too much damage done to the victims for that to be done that quickly.
Right. This was torture. This was torture for them to suffer until their demise. Okay. Yes. And I think this was overkill at the same time.
Right.
Because
I said that.
When you do that, there's no way you're going to keep hitting someone. And even though when they're done, stop breathing, whatever the case may be, God rest their souls. Right. That's overkill. And that is not personal. That is vindictive. Like I said, that's heinous. That's sadistic.
It is.
That is beyond sick. And that is 100% inhumane.
All right. I want to change my
joy.
Screen.
Yeah.
One thing that we were talking about
was,
let's see. No, I don't want to go there. What do you think about the fact that Officer Nunez body cam was on when he opened Kaylee's room door and the dog was in there?
A little strange, to say the least.
What I'm trying to say is, as far as the sheath,
right?
If his body cam was on and he was able to film the dog when he opened Kaylee's room door, shouldn't we have the sheath on his body cam when he went in Maddie's room?
Should have everything on him when he got into the room.
Because
it's like when they make a stop. When they make a stop today, that whole body, that entire cam is on. So whatever you've done on that stop, it's all going to be shown on video. It should have been no different going into her room.
All right. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Out of all the kids that are involved, students, Jack S, Jack D, Adam, Hunter, the guys at the grub truck, who do you think out of them could have actually been a ringleader if there was, quote unquote, a ringleader?
I think a lot of this, and I said this before, that grub truck scene is so powerful.
Really?
There's 4 or 5 peep guys in that scene that they're remaining quiet and calm, but they're looking at their phones,
Right.
all at the same time, which no one does that. Not simultaneously. It's just very odd because
Right.
when you're out, no one's looking at their phone at the same time. It just doesn't happen like that.
Right.
So they were
right.
definitely looking at something that was on there, whether it was pictures, whether it was video. I tried to zoom in, I couldn't see it. I think these guys at the grub truck, whether either in the front that they show the guy with the beard,
Right.
or the people in the back that weren't really doing much. But if you now this is interesting. At that grub truck, I'm almost positive they showed E and X were there in the back.
Really? You know,
Yes.
I heard that. I heard
And
that.
now it makes no sense because now if they were there and this was still around that time when K and M were there, then it's almost like either they left first to go home and they beat them to the punch, and I got a feeling they might have been taken out first. That's why I think they were ambushed.
Okay. I believe they were ambushed.
I don't think these people just walked in and broke in. I think they were hiding in the closet. I really do. It all makes sense because, and then once they gone, whatever happened, and the lights gone out or something, I don't know what transpired, or they just came out and they just gone ballistic.
Yeah. I think they just came out. I don't think they even had to wait for anybody to
Yeah.
do anything.
There was no talking. There was no negotiating. It was on, and that was it.
That kind of lines up with the fact that Kaylee's phone was making calls to Jack, I think between 2:46 and 2:52. And I think there were a couple of calls from Maddie's phone, and they seem like distress calls. And so this to me makes more sense that the crime occurred around that time than 4:00 because they were home by then. And this would line up with somebody already being in the house and maybe waiting 10 minutes to make sure everybody was in there, or 10 or 15 minutes, and then finally coming out. And it really doesn't matter who they went to first, whether it was Kaylee and Maddie on the third floor, or it doesn't matter. If they were in the house, everybody was going down. And there's no way they passed by Dylan's room all those times without opening that door, because the first thing they did when they got there was squared it away to make sure who was in there before they even got started.
Yep. It wasn't even getting started. It was just like they got ballistic on them. There was no pleading. There was nothing. And I don't think there was no type of I'm not in like any sexual type of thing, something like that going on. This was just pure raw brutality to the max.
Yeah. I was shocked that when I saw the blood on the side of the house.
Yeah.
That let me know right there.
Yeah.
I could just imagine what was going on in there. And somebody was saying, and they let them take the garbage. I think that was on purpose. I mean, that was evidence just going to the landfill. And then they try to act like they were chasing the garbage down. They went down there looking for it, but I think they let it go on purpose. Look how they took their time on everything. To me, that's just mind-boggling that the trash that was thrown away, you would let the garbage man take this stuff, knowing this is, there's evidence. It could have been DNA in the trash.
Right. And they said that too, that the FBI was disguised as garbage men, and they were looking through the trash over there by BK's parents' house and by the neighbors, and that's how they busted him. They weren't circling with a chopper or nothing like that. They posed as garbage men, and that's how they busted him.
Well, I don't believe it. I don't
believe that either. I think that's what I said. That's hard to believe because the first time it came out, they said they were circling the house. And then watching him, I just like I said, there's just it seems like there's always something new every day, so you just don't know what to believe anymore. This was all about the D word. It was all about messing with someone's stuff, and I think also someone had a big mouth or didn't know when to shut it, or once the cat was out of the bag, that was it.
Right.
That's what I think it all ties into those three things. This has nothing to do with stalking, has nothing to do with anything personal. These people were sent, and this was a message that had to be delivered and carried out.
Right, right.
And I
All
think this is what this is all about, because this is personal would not be an end result like that in a million years. There's no way in hell. No way in hell. I mean, if you even look at Ted Bundy, I mean, when he took all those women's lives, it wasn't overkill. It was just done, and that was it. I mean, he laughed, but I guess at the same time, but there was no overkill. And he was,
Right.
and this was overkill, because what happened to her and what happened to E, and I mean, that is not personal. That is brutal. That, to me, it's almost cartel.
Right, right. Yeah, cartel.
And they don't usually use weapons. It's usually things that slash and slice and chop, and and you know what their favorite weapon is of choice. We all know that. So that's what I think. What this, they could have all had that in there, which they probably either had that or they used the clubs on E and K. Who knows? But I just think that what they used was probably those type of weapons.
One thing for sure, they went in and they wreaked havoc. And
Oh
they
God,
left,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
they left with, and it's like they left free and clear. And now we got this guy on trial, but it was multiple people in that house doing that. And we
Yep.
only got one person on trial, and they claim he said was anybody else arrested, but we really don't have any proof of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because that's his hearsay. They weren't. There's no actual audio of him saying that. It's only what they said, from the LA or in the media. But there's no proof that he actually said that.
What if he did say it? What does that mean?
Well, then that means that he's involved somehow.
Okay.
Because I mean, if I said, "Well, okay, you arrested me, but who did you arrest anybody else?"
Right, right,
Now look, I mean, you're basically you're self-incriminating. Yourself right there.
right,
But you're also saying that there were other people. So if I'm going to go down, there's other people I'm taking with me.
right. Okay.
But that's what it sounds like to me. I just think that there was 2 to 3 people on each person, and were they gone ballistic, and that was it. They didn't stop until they were just done, and the over kicked in. And then when they left, it would be prior to that, they took some souvenirs and some trophies with them. You know where I'm going with that. And
Right,
I just think that they walked out as I told you before, Goodary, and that was basically with smiles on their face,
right,
and,
right.
and just and proud what they did. And that was how they kind of got off, as a what's that word? Oh, I can't remember it offhand. Oh, I can't remember it, but well, they took pleasure in doing that.
Right. It's sadistic, like they're getting
Centel is
off.
I think it's Centel or something like that. I heard one of the things that they claim would happen, which I don't know if this is true, but they actually took an apple out of the fridge or something, or it was on the counter, and they actually cut it open with the bloody knife or whatever they had, and they ate it. But
Now,
there's no proof of that.
Now, see, you heard that. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, I heard this from one of the psychics. I think it was Donna. I think it was Donna Serafina or something. She said that this is what she saw. There's one where she claims that she's actually followed the killer behind, and she still believes it was him, but I don't believe it, because I still think there was a group of people in there that night. I just don't know how the hell they got out of there. I mean, without leaving a trail. And I don't care how good of a cleanup crew you are. That would have taken days to clean up, not just one day. There's no way.
Right.
They get it.
Yeah. They had to be in the house, changing their clothes, taking a shower, whatever.
Yeah, but all that blood, I mean, no matter where you're going to go, you're still going to track it.
Right there.
Yeah.
I feel like they had to do it right there. And the fact that nobody came over there, nobody was there, like friends or people trying to party, nobody was there. So as far as I'm concerned, everybody knew something was supposed to happen.
Yeah, and if they did this without wearing any clothes, which is a possibility, but even so, I mean, you still got to shower. There's going to be blood everywhere. You're not going to get all that. It's impossible out of the tub. There's going to be so much blood from leftover. And then when you put a change of clothes on, you're going to walk right back through it.
Right. Well, they got 3 unknown DNA.
Right. Well, there you go. Because I still think either 3 to 4 people were involved in this, and I mean brutal people. like military trained or something like that, or God knows, and they've what they did to these people. That sounds just about right. And this
Yeah.
type of, but it sounds to me it's leaning more towards cartel.
All right. Here's an easy question. Well, not necessarily easy, but
Yeah.
why did they leave Murphy alive? As brutal as everything was with the victims.
That's what I said. That's what now that throws me a different route that I don't think it would have been cartel, because cartel would never spare a dog, or anything else. Whoever did this knew the dog.
Yeah,
And they've been in that house before, so it could have been something with the frat people. But to do that to someone that bad, there had been so much rage and anger. It's like you're on PCP where your brain is firing. I mean, the synapses on your brain are firing strobes, like just constant, like a strobe light. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that was the rage they had been in that state of mind to pull this type of thing off, or to carry this out.
Right. Psychopath, basically.
Yeah, schizophrenic, psychopath.
Mentally.
Mentally, yeah. And God knows they could have been on something, because if they're on something heavy like that, or if it's the H, or if it's PCP or anything like that, you're talking someone that feels no pain, that feels no remorse, and they're there to, until it's done.
Right. Or not necessarily psychopaths. It could have just been business. If it was cartel, it was business. Go in there, do it, make it ugly. Just like Charles Manson was saying, he was telling them what to do. When they go over there to the house, he told them to leave something, and he was, God only knows what all he really told them. In addition to that, it might have just been business. Go over there, and not only do you take the lives, but send a message.
The only thing I can think of, exactly, going back to the dog, this is also a theory that does make sense. Maybe if the girls might have left or something like that, they might have let the dog outside, because if this was going down, and if they returned to the scene, then they might have let Murphy back in and put him in the room or something like that. But they still would have been covered in blood, unless they washed it. I don't know. I mean, unless they came through the second floor, or they got up to the top and to the third floor, and then I know that they had a sliding glass door out there to their balcony. Maybe they got up that way, and I don't know. Somehow brought the dog in. I mean, it's just the only thing I could think of, unless the dog was out on the balcony the whole time, when this was going on, and then they somehow let him back in. That's the only thing I could think of. But he had no blood on him, did he?
Right. They said the dog had nothing on him. How they probably didn't even check the dog good, because they sent the dog to the animal shelter. They didn't send him to a lab or somewhere.
Yeah, that's strange right there. You would think right there that dog. Because pets always have like evidence on them and something like that.
Right.
Unless he was in that room. Right. Unless he was he was in that, but unless maybe he ran and then they might have shut the door behind. I don't know. I mean, but if this was Carr, that dog would not have been alive.
Now you said something that we have never considered in talking about Murphy.
Right.
You said he might have just ran in the room. When you think about it, dogs can sense evil. And so maybe he was like, oh, these people are trouble. And he went in the room himself and they just shut the door. Yeah.
That's a possibility. That way because this way he didn't try to bite anybody. And maybe that's why they didn't take the dog out.
That could be it. I never even thought about that. All right.
Because a lot of dogs do that. They run, they hide, they're scared.
Yeah, dogs can sense evil.
Yeah.
Just like young kids can be around somebody and just refuse to go to them because they know they have a bad vibe.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios, but that one kind of makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But they claim that Murphy was outside. This is what they claim. No neighbors saw Murphy outside. I think he might, because if he were outside and they brought him in, I mean, they're gonna have blood all over them. So was the dog.
Right,
the dog's gonna have blood on his paws and his legs. I mean, there's no way you're not gonna have any blood on you. You're gonna be covered in blood.
That's crazy that they went in there and did all of this, and the dog is in the room with no blood on him. That makes me go back to Dylan and Bethany, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
exactly. Unless they had the dog with them. If they were there, the dog, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just, there's no way that these murders took place in these bedrooms. I'm going to tell you right now. There's no way. Because there wouldn't be blood all throughout the house if that were the case.
You think so?
I'm positive on that. I
Because-
think that they may have gotten to Maddie, and then Kay tried to run out of the bedroom, and then they threw her. They might have already been doing a number on it, and somehow then they threw her back into the bedroom. I don't know, or something like that. But or she tried to run for her life and something like that. But it is a mystery about what she called her JD, because he never answered, and
Right.
supposedly was with another girl. It's like, if you're not, I don't know if the texts were 911 or anything like that, but I would love to. I mean, you're talking 6-7 times she called him and he didn't answer, unless he was sleeping. But
Okay, no, because not only did he not answer her calls, he didn't see them home. Remember, they were all at the corner club.
well, he was there with them.
Right. He didn't even see him home. And
See,
Maddie
I've always never
clearly-
ruled him out. Yeah, I
She-
never
she
ruled
clearly-
him out.
she clearly was intoxicated. When she was at the grub truck, if you look
Yeah.
at that video, she almost knocked that garbage can down. She was stumbling. And so for him not to feel the need to walk them to the grub truck and maybe see him home or whatever, he looked sober. Maybe he was driving. I just thought that was, maybe he knew something was going down and he
Well,
didn't
yeah.
want to be parts of it.
Yeah, and that's a possibility, because I'm sure a lot of other people know about this, and they're not talking because they know if they talk, what happens.
Okay. That might
So
be
I
the
just think,
reason why they broke up, him and Kaylee.
well, I know she was taking a job supposedly in Texas, which still doesn't make any sense because it was an IT position, and I remember her major was not even IT; it was something else, which that made no sense whatsoever.
From what I heard, a lot of the students got a job at that same place.
In Texas?
Yep. What y'all say in the chat? Y'all know about it. Who else got a job down there? I think somebody in the frat got a job at that same company. At least 2 people at the same company.
That is weird. That
That's
never
crazy.
happened.
Yep, that's crazy.
It's
That's
almost
crazy.
coincidental if you think about it.
It's more than one person got the same job. They were talking about in the comments of one of the videos. I should have made a screenshot, and they were saying how Kaylee was supposed to start working there, and now blah 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 is working there, blah blah blah's got a job there, and I'm like, what? Maybe this company's recruiting from that school. I don't know. Now, what do you think about the fact that Jack Showalter didn't take a DNA test when they had that mobile DNA out there taking everybody's DNA?
Yeah, I thought that was messed up.
This is the guy that went to Africa, and he did have a K-bar knife, because it's a picture of him with a K-bar knife in Africa when he went before all this happened.
There's a picture with him, I think, on the Facebook too. He was holding his K-bar knife too, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Right. So
I mean, he could have been part of it. I know he didn't do it alone. Because I mean, Ethan was a big guy. Ethan wasn't. He was 6'4", and it was about over 200 pounds. I mean, he could definitely hold his own. So I
Yeah.
just watched why I think a bunch of people did this, because he would be tussling with the other person, and I just don't
Yeah.
believe it.
I don't believe one person could have took him unless he was asleep.
Exactly. And I just think that 2 or 3 people were on him, I think. And I just think there were like 2 people on each person in that house or more.
Yeah, I believe it was more than 2. I really
No
do.
matter how you were swinging your hands or your feet, it didn't matter. You were getting ripped here from shreds. It's all I could think of.
Yeah, I think it was at least 3 people.
But I think they were tied and bound
Why you say that though?
because torture.
Right. Well,
And usually,
Kaylee was obviously fighting though, and they say Xana's fingers were almost severed, so she had to be fighting.
I wonder if her fingers were severed.
Yeah, I think somebody said something about
Because I have a feeling her fingers were cut off, and that is not amateur.
That's not. You're right. You're right.
Now you know where I'm going with it from there. That is
Right.
because
You're
that's what they normally do when it's
Right.
time for a payback. It's not a 1, 2, 3 thing. It is torture.
Okay, so for this thing to be screaming that it was a hit and that the people that it was more than one person and they know exactly what they were doing, they made it out of there without so much as a speck on the door when they left.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
With all of that being the way it is, how do we have Brian Kohlberger in custody?
Well, that's what I said. It just doesn't add up. I just think that the chancellor, the dean of the university, said, "Listen, we got to come up with something quicker. We got to keep this thing quiet. You know, we can't have a panic going on right now."
Yeah.
I think that's probably what it came out to be, what it came down to, and because they probably would have lost a lot of students trying to come into the college or left, and that would have been it. It would have been hard for them to stay open or something.
Here's the big question.
Yeah.
All right. I want you to just take a minute.
Yeah.
Now, Brian Kohlberger's phone, they say, was turned off for whatever reason. His phone wasn't available from 3 to 5, right?
Right.
So if this was a hit, it just feels like a hit. Just assume it was a hit.
Yep.
And they arrested Brian.
Right.
They knew when they arrested him that his phone was not available. But how could they know that he didn't have an alibi?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean there's just
how could you go through all of that, all of this fanfare of breaking in his house, televising, snatching him up and putting him in jail in Pennsylvania, and saying you got your guy and you're not looking for anybody else, and that confident before you know where he was, because they never asked him where. They never, from my knowledge, they never interrogated him before they arrested him. The lawyer said they talked to him for 15 minutes, about 15 minutes before they actually, just went on and processed him. And the lawyer said, he said, I assume they have my GPS coordinates. This is what his lawyer, his Pennsylvania lawyer said.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, how would they go through all of that to go snatch him out of his parents' house, breaking the door down and stuff like that, and just to find out that this guy had a solid alibi?
Yeah, you want to talk about, erroneous activity. I mean, right there, that just sums it up. I mean, it wasn't even done professionally. And I just think they slashed a lot of red tape, and they didn't follow procedure. And that's
okay. Are you saying it's a coincidence that they chose a guy that doesn't have an alibi?
Yeah.
So
because now it makes sense. Okay, you don't have an alibi. Oh, okay. No, now we have you. Now we. Yeah.
They didn't know he didn't have an alibi before they arrested him. How could they know that?
Evidently, there's somebody that's fueling the fire in this one.
You mean giving information like unofficially?
Yeah, exactly. And they're going on that, and they're thinking, all right, we'll take their word for it, and now it's just gonna, just make it worse for him, detrimental to his case.
Come to think of it, you know how I think they might have done it? It's because once they looked at his phone records and saw that his phone was off, or they didn't have a record of anything between 3 and 5, they probably figured whatever alibi he claimed he had, they could dispute it because of his phone record. Because if wherever he said he was, he didn't have his phone record to back it up.
Yeah, and then now we have with Ann Taylor right now, and then now she's coming at him, and now you're dealing with people in a more duplicitous situation where they almost are like backed up, against the corner, back up against the corner, and they're just praying to God that she doesn't bring anything forward on this case, or they're gonna throw it. But yeah, it's just. It seems to me that no matter what not the prosecution, but no matter what the defense is coming up with, the prosecution, they don't want to hear it. They feel like they have, but they haven't produced anything yet, which makes no sense.
Right.
There's nothing that they have on him that's come out that's new, that proves that he's guilty. There's no one. There's nothing. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm not. It just doesn't make sense. There's no blood. I mean, there's nothing. Was no in his car, and it's just, it doesn't add up.
Yeah, where did they get it from?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Because usually in a situation you have a bloody handprint or a bloody,
Something.
fingerprint or something, but there's nothing on him, and I don't know how you can pin this on him. You have nothing.
Right.
There's
right.
nothing to go on and there's not in this case. There is nothing to go on at all.
Nothing. Well,
And it blows my mind. Like, I don't know how the hell they're getting away with this. And that's what I go back to the whole thing. I just think it has to do with the school. I think it has to do with the funding. I think it has to do with the reputation. And that all makes sense.
all
Because
right.
now the students can walk around and feel safe. Well, they all know, a lot of them pretty much, I bet you half that's institution knows what really happened, and they're just not talking.
Right.
Because
All
they
right.
know if they do, it gets out, they're done.
All right. Do you think this is gonna make it to trial?
No,
Why
I
you
think
say
this thing's going to keep getting pushed back and pushed back as motions of dismissal. It just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Every time it's supposed to go to trial, there's always a delay. There's always a setback.
Yeah.
If the prosecution had such a strong case, they should have already gone to trial.
Okay. Well, the flip side of that is, if the defense had such a strong case, why is he still in jail? He didn't even get a bond.
That's true, but usually in a situation like that, you have 400 lives. That the odds of that person getting a bond are like slim to none anyway. But yeah, I see your point. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just,
I want to look at this article here. I think it was yesterday.
yeah,
Hold on, let me try to put this up.
yeah, it's just every day is something new. You're like, oh my God, I've heard this before. I've heard this before, and yeah.
All right,
Very
this was published yesterday evening, and it says bombshells expected to be revealed in Idaho College murders case during
Right.
Brian Kohlberger trial. It's almost like they're boosting us up to believe they have more evidence, which I don't believe they have. It says they've been waiting for answers for almost a year now. Last January, Kohlberger was charged. We know all of that. Not long after a gag order was issued, effectively stopping the flow of information. That's not true, to the victims' families. Okay. Recently, Kohlberger waived his right to a speedy trial so his defense team could have more time to prepare, which the prosecutor called a smart move. The prosecutor.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's ridiculous. The prosecutor called the waiving of the speedy trial a smart move, given the mountains of evidence, much of which authorities have managed to keep secret. So they're supposed to have mountains of evidence that they're keeping secret. I don't believe that either. But
I don't
now
believe they could even do that. Yeah.
it says, but now a bombshell report has revealed shocking new details about that horrific night. According to online newsletter Airmail, the grand jury was told that the two roommates who were also in the house at the time and survived allegedly had not only been awake while the killings had taken place, but they had heard everything. More astonishingly, sources allege that the two had been texting one another as the murder methodically went from one room to the next. They're still saying it's one person. Adding to the mystery, the story also claims there was another secret witness.
And who would that be?
Well, they say it's a secret witness. They said they got a bombshell secret witness. Now, who is that? Yeah.
So if there was a secret witness, then basically it looks like then maybe Brian is going to walk.
A secret witness. Like who?
I never heard that before in my life. That is a crock of, you know what? That's, yeah, now it's just coming out. But it's amazing that the prosecution has all this great evidence. Well, where the hell is it?
Yeah.
Because if I were a judge, I'd be like this. Listen, I'm getting sick and tired of these preliminaries. Every time you come, you never come forth with anything that I can, they can be used against this gentleman. even to go to trial. I'm to the point. I'm just about to dismiss this case and have him be exonerated.
Oh, snap. Look at this. So the secret witness is a female. It says,
Maybe Emma.
It says still no one called 911 until the next day. According to airmail, there is a witness who can explain the sequence of events, but the FBI is it says protecting his or her identity. My bad. It says protecting his or her identity. So it could be a female or a male.
It could be Emma. Emma Bailey.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. And this is supposed to be somebody other than Dylan and Bethany. So they done dragged up somebody else. They done dragged up another witness. That's ridiculous. I just can't believe some of the stuff that these people are getting away with in processing this case. I just can't believe it. Because back in the day, I guess it's always been police corruption or whatever you call it or whatever. But I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. Now look at Steve Wilkes from used to be on the other Wild show.
Wasn't that Jerry Springer?
Yeah. This is Steve that used to be his bouncer. So what really happened that night, I think there was a lot of weird stuff going on in that house. Former Chicago police officer Steve Wilkos, who helped solve crimes on his talk show, but is not involved in this case, exclusively tells In Touch. He said, if I woke up and there was this strange masked guy, I don't know if I'd just shut my door and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to more details coming out during the trial. It could be a long wait. Experts predict Kohlberger won't face a jury until next year. I don't believe he's going to face a jury even next year. I really don't.
That's why I said I don't think this is going to go to trial. I think they're going to keep trying to drag this thing on because they have nothing. And if I were the judge, I'd be, listen, guys, the time is up. The hourglass is basically all the sand is almost just about the bottom. What's going on? If you don't have anything, that's it.
Right. If you don't
that's
have
what I would do because I would be tired of listening to it. I really would be.
How long do you think it'll be before the trial starts, if it starts?
Well, it's not gonna be this year. I'll tell you right now.
No, it's not gonna be this year.
I'm gonna call it for March next year.
March of next year. That's soon, huh?
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, unless the prosecution can produce something, which they claim that they have, but they never produce anything because they don't have anything. You know what they have? They have niente, which means nothing, or ungats. Okay, there you go. That's these slang term, but we'll just say niente, which they have nothing, and basically. Right, and basically they don't have anything. What do they have? Or else they would have introduced already in the courtroom.
Well, they got a secret witness now.
Oh, whatever. Facci de culo, okay? Give me a break. Or di cavalli di cavalli culo. There you go. But anyway, so I'm just saying that they don't wouldn't but secret witness, like they had evidence last time before and they didn't produce nothing. So it's really annoying after a while. It really is.
Well, Cindy Abbott Tentdor said something about Dylan creeps me out. That creepy, snarky smile, and she was
Yeah, that's an evil picture. I could see right through her soul in that picture.
And she is tall. They were trying to say she was a trans, but I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either. I think again that's just hearsay.
No, I don't believe she's trans. I think that's kind of bad that they even went there, to be honest with you. I think they're just going too far, because that sexuality had nothing to do with it. Or maybe it does because, it was a house full of girls. I don't know.
But then why did they take her out? If they hated her, they would have taken her out. That's what I mean. That's why I don't believe this was personal. I don't know if this was jealousy. This was all about one thing only, and that's it.
Yeah.
For those things to take place, that, like I said, that brutal and horrifying, that says it all right there.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make, just trying to say the fact. If you really think about it, you put all this together, it does make sense.
Well, they said if nobody called 911 until the next day, because all of the Moscow 911 calls are routed to Pullman. They get it first, and then Pullman reports it back to MPD.
Yeah.
And so by the time it got to MPD, it was still that it was somebody unconscious. And so I
love that
think,
one. Unconscious. No one's gonna call 911 and say that. That is ridiculous. If someone just got wasted someplace, I mean taken out, or they got clipped or something. I'm just using slang terms. They're not gonna say, "Hey, this person's unconscious," when they just, you know what I mean? No one would say something like that. That just doesn't make any sense. And I heard
Okay.
about that. Well, we use unconscious as code. Oh, that is the biggest crock. They don't do that in New York, in Manhattan, or Brooklyn. I mean, they don't go, well, there's someone that, even though they just got their, they just got taken out and they're lying on the beat or the sidewalk in a massive pool of blood. They're not gonna say, well, someone's lying here unconscious. No, those calls are not calm. They're frantic, and
Right.
they're horrifying. Yeah, it wouldn't be
Well,
like that.
They say Hunter is the one that called the police. So
That's what they claim. Yeah.
that means Dylan and Bethany never called police ever. Not even when other people were over there with them and stuff. They never actually called the police. Is that legal for you to know that somebody's in distress and you don't call the police?
Yeah, I remember one of them saying that they said that one of the girls tried to make the attempt to call 911. I guess they fainted or something like that. And I guess possibly Hunter grabbed the phone, was using their phone, and he spoke to 911. But that hasn't been proven yet.
Yeah, it's been disputed, as a matter of fact. And they
But
said
you would think that the 911 call would be the first thing that would come out, because that is imperative.
Did they have to show and tell the 911 call, even though they didn't?
I'm sure they had to. I'm sure she heard it.
Okay, so if she heard the 911 call and she knows who called 911,
If it really does exist, who's to say they didn't even call?
oh my goodness! You know what? It's possible. Some people, you're not the first person I heard say that. That's crazy. If nobody ever called the police, then how did they get there? Somebody.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I mean, if they could have known this was going down, they could have decided to show up later on. Who knows? There might not even been a 911 call on this.
Maybe they called the police directly on the phone, not 911.
Which is kind of strange, though, because in any situation like that, you're going to call 911. You're not going to call the police department. And the odds of you getting a hold of someone are like slim to none, especially in a small town like that.
I'm talking about calling the police on their own personal phone, because the police
that's what I'm saying.
all the time. And Kaylee got the Rosenthal's phone number when he was out there on the back door for a long time, taking a picture of her license. They could have called. They could have left their number and said, "Well,
yeah." Police officers don't do that. They don't take pictures of people's license. They don't take pictures of. They may look it on your phone, but they don't take. I never heard of that in my life, and I never heard of a police officer taking a picture of a woman in a police station and not using the actual camera itself. That made no sense.
Me either. But they do.
That is really corrupt and bizarre.
They did it though.
I know, which is strange. Maybe the camera wasn't working. I don't know. Well, isn't it their job to get it fixed? How are they supposed to produce a mugshot?
Well, when he took Kaylee's the picture of her license, nobody had called for a noise complaint. They just went over there. And the other
I would have just said to
him,
yeah.
They were telling him, come on, let's go. Let's just come back, come back on your day off, and we don't have a warrant to be here. And he still pressed the issue.
Yeah, if that were me, I'd be like, yo, why are you taking a picture of my license? I didn't tell you to do that. I didn't give you permission to do that. Now you're invading my privacy. Well, usually what an officer does, they'll take your license and they'll go back to the car and then they'll call it in and find out if there's no, you have no warrants out for you, you have a clean, whatever the case may be. But they give it back to you. They don't take a picture of it on their cell phone. That made no sense. And if I would have been her, I'd been like, why did you just take a picture of my license? That was messed up.
Yeah, I never heard of a policeman doing that.
Yeah, here's my license, and they take a picture. I'm like, whoa. I go, why did you just do that? I didn't give you permission to take a picture of my license. You have it in your hand. You can go back to the car while I'm watching you in the rearview mirror while you're calling in, running my name and everything. But that doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand. Well, he didn't have a right to even ask her for her license because nobody made
Right.
a noise complaint. And for a while, nobody even came out of the house. They were just ignoring the police. And so to me, I think that attitude right there played into how brutal it was when it went down, because when the police came over there, they ignored the police for a long time. And then finally, Kaylee and Hunter came out.
Unless that would not possibly could have happened here, which I'm really going off off the beaten path on this one, but maybe that the cops could have showed up and possibly said, hey, you know what, maybe somebody thought there was a burglary going on in the house and they rushed in, and who the hell knows that something could have transpired from that. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Right.
Maybe someone could have gotten the hell beat at them with their baton or their billy club or something. That's a possibility too. The nightstick. Nightstick would smash anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I mean, there could have been any ways and motive of getting in there, but I just never heard of anyone, in any situation like that, you're going to call 911. You're not going to call the police department directly. And, yeah, I mean, you've got.
Somebody said they called the police at around 3-something.
But why? Why don't you just call 911?
Somebody said there was a 911 call at around 3-something, but they're not acknowledging that there was a 911 call at 3-something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, I think all this took place around 2:45. That's what I think.
Right.
I think it was way before 4:00. It was definitely, there was no DoorDash, because there was a girl that they interviewed, and she said that she was supposed to make a delivery to that house, but then something happened where, what did she? I forget what she said actually. And then she got a phone call from some guy, said you need to go back to the house. And she said, I'm not going back. And she called her supervisor at work and told her what was going on. And they told her, do not go back to that house.
Wow.
And she got back there. So that was interesting too. So I don't know. But I don't think there was a DoorDash. If you look at that bag in the picture, that's an old DoorDash bag. That's not brand new. And that cup looked like it was been sitting there for a while. Not that same night.
I think that it looks staged to me.
Yeah, it does. That's exactly what I was just gonna say. That whole kitchen looks staged.
It looks staged because, for the simple fact that Xana's name was written on the bag. I had a problem with that. I was like,
yeah, they don't do that. It's usually on the receipt.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I've never had anything from DoorDash ever wrote on a bag with my name. It was always on. They would have Davino on the receipt.
Me either. And I've had a boatload of DoorDash.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, I've never heard that in my life. That was kind of strange too. The cup looked like it was old. It looked like it was actually. Everything looked like it was a plant.
Right.
So I don't know, but
I think that's a bunch of bull. But I got a lot of questions, and like me and Les was saying, I 95% believe that Bryan Kohberger not only didn't have anything to do with it, he probably didn't really know anything about it. But then there's that 5% that's gonna stay there until I feel that I'm comfortable with where he was. Because it would be irresponsible for me to 100% just say Bryan Kohberger didn't do this. He had nothing to do with it. He's being framed, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't know anything. I can't say that, and he doesn't have an alibi. Right.
I agree with that 100%. If you don't have an alibi, that's the problem for you right there.
I got to have that alibi. And until then, he's going to have to prove his case, okay?
Yeah, because I agree.
If somebody arrested you right now, even in New York, if somebody come and arrest you, and once you get to the jail,
right,
or even when they come to your house, if you can prove that you got a witness that says you're somewhere else, they got to back up off you. They might keep investigating you, but they can't hold you in custody when you got an alibi. They might keep investigating you from a distance, but they're not gonna just lock you up and keep you in custody with no bond, and you got an alibi. That's not gonna happen.
No, it's not. And the weird thing is, if he said this, if you weren't guilty, you wouldn't say, did you arrest anyone else?
Right.
That's kind of strange. I don't know if he really said that.
Right.
But if
he did, that's part of that 5%.
Exactly. Then now it looks like now it's gonna twist now. Now looking, well, maybe he was involved in this.
Right. Or knows. Somebody said that he might have even helped plan it,
Right.
even though he wasn't over there, plan the perfect murder, but he didn't think they would actually do it. But I don't believe that.
No.
Like everybody knew about it. And remember, we haven't talked about Maddie where Kaylee was asking Maddie what did she tell Adam, and she seemed kind of
Yeah, that's the mission to this whole thing, and that's the night they were killed.
Yeah, the same.
And that's what blows my mind. She's like, I told Adam, but if you could hear it in the tape, you could actually hear Adam say, "They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you, girls, for this," or something like that. And
right.
that's not fake. That's real. And
That's
then
real.
and then she goes, Maddie, what did you tell Adam? And she goes, I told Adam everything. And Maddie had a black jacket on that night.
Right. And they said
Like it was
on the
too big. It looked like it was too big for her because the sleeves were hanging off her.
Right.
And she was swaying her arm. But then they found her jacket by the fire hydrant.
That's what they say.
And I'm wondering if that were the case, then maybe that's where they could have been abducted right there, and then they could have been
right
brought back to the to the place, or they could have, because I don't think nothing was done to them at first. I think unless if it were this, then this could have transported some other place, and they could have actually been carried back and put there. I don't know, but then again, the house wouldn't look like that.
Right,
so,
right.
I don't know. They could have been, yeah.
And then we got the 3 or 4 guys running on camera on the body cam at 312.
Right. They're in the field. Now, this would make no sense.
And that's real.
Right. You're running from the cops. That's a looting right there. Okay. You don't stop, you're gonna get arrested. I don't care if it's a cop from the campus. It made no sense. It's like the cop, I think he almost like he knew him or something, because they didn't want to stop. But if you also look in the background, and I've discussed it with you before last week, there's like 5 to 6 people in the background walking, coming from that that location from the house. You could see them walking, not running. It's really creepy. Right. And that was because who the hell would be walking around, like that at nighttime at 28? It was like 28 degrees out.
One of the guys running in that group had a white box in his hand. If you slow it down, you can see.
Yeah, but what would that box entail? What was it, like a souvenir or something?
It looked like it was about the size of a real good size Christmas gift box.
Yeah.
It wasn't a small box. It was like something you have to stick under your arm to carry.
Maybe it was jewelry. Maybe it was who knows? Could have been anything.
But 3:12 in the morning.
What was that?
What are you doing with that? Running 3:12 in the morning?
Right, but if it was a professional organization that did this, they wouldn't be walking like that.
Right. Well, maybe they went over there and saw what happened around 3:12. Maybe they was running from the house because the fireworks was going off. You know, maybe that's where the ladder came in. That they heard the fireworks and somebody got on the ladder and looked in there and was like, "Oh my goodness,"
Yeah,
it could be. I don't know, but they were on camera running with that box at 3:12.
Yeah, that ladder is a mystery on the side of the house though, because it goes right up to Z's room, and if you look on that balcony, there is a lot of red on that balcony.
Yeah.
And that doesn't look like paint. That looks like blood.
Maybe that was the entry or exit point. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about too. They could have came up to the balcony, and this is why I'm saying they could have been ambushed.
Okay, here's a good question.
Yeah.
From Cindy. So why do you guys think Kaylee's was such an overkill? Somebody said Kaylee was pregnant.
Well, that was brought up at one time before, but I'm wondering, she was an overkill because she's the one who talked.
Could be her and Maddie.
Yeah, because she's the one.
Both of them.
That knew a lot more than she already gone to them, or she was going to them. That was the rumor, or that was word, and that's what happened.
Yeah, because those two were joined at the hip. So if one of them was running her mouth, you might as well say it was both of them. Because there's no way one of them could be in trouble and the other one wasn't. Because they was two joined at the hip.
Right. And I just think that I wonder if that maybe E was collateral damage, and
Right.
X was she could have been collateral damage too.
Yeah. Or it was just whoever that house. A lot of people say the hit was on the house. Whoever was in
Right.
the house was going.
But
Because
but,
all the
but
cars
that's what
were in
made
the
no
driveway.
sense.
All the cars were in the driveway. They could have put it off, or they could have caught them somewhere else. They meant to go in there and do exactly what they did. And I believe if DM and Bethany were there, they would either be passed away as well, or they were helping to do it. And I don't think that they were helping to do it. I think this was a professional hit. It would have been sloppy for them to be in there. And even if they were in there doing it with them, if it was a hit, they still would have took them out after it was over. They would have
Right.
double crossed them. They wouldn't have just let them be
No.
walking around knowing what happened. That's
Exactly. It
That-
is.
It would have been a double cross.
Right, you make a good point, because this was definitely a hit, because the way that scene was described, that's not this is an amateur night.
Yeah, it's not.
This was done with intent.
Right. They keep
That's
saying
a big
frat,
word right there.
frat,
Yeah.
frat. I don't think them frat boys
Nah,
had
no
what
way.
it takes to do this.
No way. Not a million years.
And I don't think they had the heart to do it right there.
No, I think they would be petrified and scared.
Yeah, I don't think they had the heart to do it that close to where they got to go back home and sleep right across the grass.
I
That's
couldn't do it. There's no way. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just beyond that. Just whoever did this has done it before many times and has gotten away with it. And this was like I said, that's what I'm saying. They were ambushed. They were probably professionally ambushed,
Yeah, they had.
and they were just tied up. And forgive me for saying, they were tortured to the demise.
But they were tortured. They were.
Oh yeah,
tortured.
they were tortured, because
Now-
with those organizations, that's what they do.
Now you know
It's not over that fast.
one of the influencers had an inmate that was in prison
Mhm.
for a violent crime as a guest. This was months ago. He said the same thing. He said that the killers were already in the house.
Yep, they were there.
That's the first thing. He and this guy, you know, he's an inmate still. He was a guest through the telephone because he was, you know, he's still locked up. But he was saying that the killers had to be in the house, and that even though it could have been done that fast, I think he was saying it could have been done that fast with multiple people, but not.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. 9 minutes. You could, if you had 3 to 4 people, that could easily be carried out.
But it would have been some blood. I think it would have been some blood trail in 8 or 9 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what makes no sense. But again, we're only going by what they're saying, because there could have been a lot of blood there that they didn't even show. And that's a possibility also. They could say there was no blood. That's why they're trying to pin it on Brian. I mean,
Yeah.
BK. But if there really was a lot of blood, then I don't see how there couldn't be a lot of blood. It would make no sense. Maybe it was just that bad to that bad. I told you they wouldn't even let the EMTs in there because it was horrific. They never seen anything like it in their life. Even the FBI said that's one of the worst crimes they've ever seen in their
I
entire
agree.
life.
I think it was gruesome.
Oh
And
yeah, it was gruesome, because supposedly E's legs, I told you, were sliced down to the hamstrings.
You know, that's just, you know, my stomach
No.
can't take that. My stomach can't take that.
Well, my stomach can take anything because I've seen a lot growing up. But the thing is, it's not what you see in the movies. I'm gonna tell you right now. Second of all, if that was done to E, that was not amateur night.
It wasn't.
That
It
was
wasn't.
done with malice, extreme malice.
Yeah. They meant to go in there. I believe they might even filmed it.
Yeah, I think they did. I really
Yeah.
do, and I wonder if that's what they were watching on their phones there at the grub truck.
Yeah, Gina agrees. Gina said professional hit job.
Yep.
Now let me ask you this.
Yep.
How do you think Brian Koberger's parents are seeing this whole situation?
I think they believe he's innocent.
You do?
Yeah.
Because they haven't said a peep.
Well, maybe they were told not to.
I mean, nobody's supposed to be saying a peep, but they're still saying it.
Well, they might have just been said amerta, which just means silent. They don't
Only
say
the
nothing.
aunt. Only the aunt is talking, and she doesn't.
Mhm.
Only the aunt is talking. And this is the second time she has come out and made a statement. She's selling stories. But she's the only one out of that whole family that's doing that. She's the only one.
Well,
She's the only one.
just like GC and as well as X's family, it seems like the G family is the only ones that are really coming out and saying anything. Why
Right.
isn't anybody else saying anything? That just doesn't make sense.
Okay, I'm gonna show y'all another article. Hold on a second. Let me change my screen.
Let it be. Sorry about that.
It's all good. Let me show you this.
All right.
Now here it is. This is the aunt now. She said he was always quiet. Aunt of Idaho College murder suspect Brian Kohlberger fears he will be found guilty and commit suicide. This is what the aunt said.
The possibility.
The aunt of Brian Kohlberger, the main suspect in the Idaho College murders, has expressed her belief that her nephew will be found guilty at trial. She also fears that he may contemplate suicide if he's sentenced to prison.
Yep, and I'm gonna have a feeling you're never gonna find out who really did this.
Why would you say that about your own nephew, though?
Well, maybe she just feels like all the evidence is pointing at him, but I don't know. I just feel like they're never gonna find out who really did this because this was professional.
Okay, it's an
If it
outlet.
was professional, it's not gonna get solved. I can tell you right now.
I said that too. I mean, if it's organized crime, they didn't have any other
Nope.
choice but to just cover it up.
No one's gonna talk. I can tell you right now because if they talk, you know what's gonna happen.
Well, yeah. Or no one's gonna talk because the upper brass at the school and whatever, they in with organized crime. They do business with them.
Yep, that's another thing I mentioned before too. You know, you deal with things like that and other clubs out there and things, and no one's gonna say nothing because it's business.
No. It says Kohlberger's aunt, who wished to remain anonymous, shared her concerns about her nephew's mental state in her own words. She revealed, I think he will be found guilty.
If he did this, I'm going to be so shocked beyond shock, and I'm going to be, no disrespect here, impressed how he pulled this off in 9 minutes. But I just have a hard time believing. I honestly believe, just like the guy said, behind bars, he just said this was definitely done by a bunch of people, and they were ambushed.
Well, Aaron Hernandez took his life once he got the prison sentence.
Well, he knew he was guilty. That's why.
Yeah, that's true.
He wanted to be locked up for life. He knew that was going to happen. He was involved in a lot of stuff that he was in denial, and then he had accepted, and that's why he took his life.
I'm saying, but Brian acts awful calm. He's been smiling a lot lately, and I just don't understand that.
I don't know either. I mean, unless if he really did this, I don't know how he pulled this off. I just don't know why some idiot would go to someone's home when there's 4 to 5 cars in the driveway, knowing that they're all there, and you're going to go inside and try to pull off something like that. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
I just don't believe it.
People show confidence on the outside, and he's holding up. It seems like he's holding up pretty good, but on the inside, maybe he is thinking, "Hey, I'm trapped in this, and if I can't get out."
Because everything above the surface may look fine, but below could be kicking 10,000 miles a minute. You don't even know it.
All right. Here's another good question: do professional hit jobs entail such overkill, or is it more swift and clean in and out?
No. I'm not going to go into detail here. I'm going to be discreet as possible. But usually in things like that, they're not supposed to be clean. I can tell you right now. If you're sending a message,
right,
it's not going to be clean. There is a reason for that.
Right.
And this, to us, we see it as the M word. or M with a plural on it, but to them it was just a job or a mission.
Right. It's just a job.
So they don't see it as that. They just see it as their job.
Right. It's just their job. And then
Yeah, and they enjoyed doing it, or they don't. If it doesn't matter, I'm sure they were compensated great, very generously on this at the same time. But again, this wasn't amateurs. I'm gonna tell you right now.
okay, Les said, I think a professional would use a gun. Well,
No,
not if you went to remove organs and mutilate and all of that right there.
No way. No.
The overkill was intentional. I think that's the point he's trying to make.
Yeah, and if this was the C word, if the C word was involved in this, there's no way in hell they never use a gun.
Yeah.
Because they're advertising it. Let's put it that way.
Right. They're sending a message, same as if that coat was left at the hydrant. They're showing everybody this is what happened to you. If you.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's almost like it basically, if you think about it, it's like foreshadowing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's leading you to the climax.
That makes it even more creepy.
It does, because that in a way, and actually I thought about this too, and I brought this up before. I wonder if that jacket on the fire hydrant was a message to letting whoever else was to know that it's been done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no one talking about it. Just that one thing alone as a landmark could define it right there and say, you know what? It's been taken care of. TCB.
Yeah, and everybody's pointing it out. It's like they knew. Everybody on the street, is hearing rumors and know about it because it's like everybody knew. Everybody knew. And it just seemed like everybody knew. Everybody knew that it was going to go down, that something terrible.
Right, exactly. Or there was rumors about it. But what blows my mind is the driver that took them home that night. What really transpired? Was that person somehow involved? I don't know.
He was the driver.
Right, but he was a driver on the campus. He wasn't an Uber or Lyft driver. He was just a driver giving them a ride home.
Right. I'm saying he was the driver for whoever had this thing done. I believe he was the driver. And he said that he did not drop them off right there at the door for their own safety. Now, who would say something like that?
Yeah, that basically is making yourself look guilty. They drive them up to the driveway. Let's say, well, can you just drop us off at the driveway? That's fine. But if you're that drunk, you want to get as close to the front door as possible instead of walking. Plus, it was below freezing that night. It was like 28 degrees.
And he didn't drop them off at the door.
That made no sense to me. Yeah. So I'm wondering maybe he could have been he was part of the luring them back to the house. Because the whole thing, here's where it all ties in. They knew that she was in town.
Right.
So that weekend they had the football game.
Right.
I don't know what transpired. Maybe something happened at the game. Who knows? They had a Halloween party a couple months before that. I think but it transpired from that. It could have escalated into something more. I don't know if that's the case. But somebody knew she was in town. And word got out that she was in town. And this was all, orchestrated and premeditated. And that's basically what happened.
Yeah.
Because when this is done, and I'm going to be discreet as possible again, it's not spontaneous. It is premeditated.
Right. I agree with that. The study agrees with that. Everything agrees with this being premeditated.
Mm-hmm.
And they meant to do what they did to everybody in the house. Mm-hmm. I think the house was the target. Somebody pissed somebody off. Excuse my language.
That?
And it's unfortunate, but I just hope that this young man that's on trial will get a fair trial because everybody deserves that. And so far, he's not. And his attorneys, to me, aren't doing a cotton picking thing, but filing papers and filing motions. I don't see them doing any real investigative work.
Exactly. That's
all the
my
leaks
point.
that's coming
Yeah.
out, all the leaks that's coming out are coming on the prosecution side. We haven't heard a leak from the defense since they said that Bethany had exonerating evidence, and that turned out to be what?
Nothing. Niente. And also, what you said was interesting before. You go, the house was the target. So in other words, what you're saying is that if I was in that house, then I would have been gone too.
Yeah.
But that kind of doesn't make sense to me in a way, because why did you just get rid of the entire house? I mean, if the house was a target, tell me, like, it almost seems like it was cursed.
No, I'm thinking the house was targeted because they were selling dope out of there, and somebody messed with the stash.
Well, how I go back to the thing. If someone messed with the merchandise or the product or whatever the case may be, you're done. And if word gets back, I don't care if you replace it. It doesn't matter. You're done.
Right.
That's disrespectful and being unloyal, and you just broke or betrayed your history.
You broke one of the rules. You broke the street code.
That's it right there. You're done. You don't ever do something like that. You are done.
You're done.
And so I think
that's why I said if you
was
were there, you would have been taken out too, just for being there.
Exactly. And whatever was flushed, if that's the case, then they're talking like 300 to 2 million. I mean, goodbye. That's it.
Yeah.
Ciao presto. That'll be it. You're done.
Even if it was $10,000 worth, it would have been the same. It doesn't matter.
Thing. You're done. You're done.
It would have been the same thing. If it was $5,000, you don't have it. Something happened to it. So, And
right,
why on earth would all this be going on? Y'all supposed to be in college. Everybody, all these kids are
right. That's what I said. It almost seems like they weren't even going to school. I'm just wondering that the owners of this house, if they had an agreement, for them to, they let them stash whatever was there, in return that they can live there for free. Who the hell knows? That's a possibility.
Something, because Kaylee popped up with the Range Rover. She wasn't doing too bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it seemed like somebody had to be running the house.
Did she have an OnlyFans account?
Yeah, she was on OnlyFans.
Okay, then that's not clean material number one right there. So let's be honest. So she was. I'd never seen the account, but if she did, I mean, who the hell knows? I mean,
well, a lot of those girls are on OnlyFans making a few dollars, but that's not the same thing as messing with somebody's
no,
drug.
You're done. I mean, word gets, they come to pick it up, and that's it. For it to be distributed, wherever the case may be, and you don't have it, you're done. There is gonna be no, you better go find it or something like that. You're done. They don't want to hear it.
Right.
That's it. But I think that if something like that happened and and that's what happened, and here's what I want you to do, and whatever the case, that's also could have been a scenario. But I'm gonna say it was premeditated. This wasn't spontaneous. This just so and so's in town. We got this. That's it. This was done. They were on a mission to carry this out.
Okay, I think we have a super chat. Tell it to L. Let's
what?
see. We have a super chat sticker from Tell It to L for $5. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody. I didn't even know it was this late. Vino got me on a roll talking about all this stuff.
You're the one who's talking to me, asking me my opinions on things, girl.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we want. You always do a great job.
That's what we want. Exactly. Right.
That you always do a good job. And
exactly. It helps. But why don't these other people participate and come on these things? I don't understand that.
They're scary. Bark, bark. Chicken.
Yeah, what the hell's up with that stuff? Levante ante, get on here, Alora. I mean, seriously, it's just crazy. Laura! But seriously, they should definitely get, I don't know why, if everyone wants to be in chat, right? Let me hear your voice and come on here. I just curious what your opinions are, that's all.
That's right. Show us what you're working with.
Yeah, come on. Show what your mama gave you. There you go. Yeah.
I'm trying to find L's sticker so I can put it up on the screen. You guys are great, and I just think I appreciate everybody. You know, it's good to be able to get together and talk about it because, as far as I'm concerned, we need to stay with Koberger and find out what's going on instead of just saying, well, it probably wasn't him, and just start with all these wild fantasies. We still haven't we haven't gotten to the bottom of Koberger yet.
But see that's a great point, because maybe what they're trying to do here is steer you away from him when all along. I'm not saying this, but hypothetically, he could be the one who really is behind all this.
Right? We'll be shocked, but it's possible. We can't.
Like I said, I think we're all going to be shocked on this, because either way, it was something that people that we suspected, or it's someone that we didn't suspect, and now we're really shocked.
Really, I mean, my face would be on the floor, but I mean, anything is possible, because without an alibi, I can't take him off the list. I'm sorry.
No, you can't, and I agree 100%.
I have to go somewhere and wash some dishes or something to make sure everything's all right. But I'm gonna stand on what I believe, and I just don't believe one person could go in there and do that. I think the timeline is out of the question. Okay, here's the sticker, L. Thank you so much.
Not what happened to Ethan, and supposedly one of them, like I said, was decapitated.
Right. I mean, you don't just walk away from that and say, well, gee, maybe. No, I want to know who did it. And even if I don't know, I want to know if he did it. Even if we never find out who actually did it, I want to know if he did it.
Well, it definitely wasn't done by a K-bar, I'm going to tell you right now, because a K-bar loses its blade after a couple. It doesn't remain sharp.
Yeah,
it's not like it's not like a Bowie knife, not like a Rambo type of knife. Those blades last a long time.
Yeah.
And this knife, I don't care how you sharpened it, it doesn't matter. It eventually becomes dull.
And it sounds like the wounds that at least one weapon had to have a serrated edge.
Exactly.
Like a machete. Right.
That's what I'm back exactly leaning towards, because if that was professional, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Because if he had, and it's just nasty to think about it, to the back of his legs, it almost seems like that was the case. He was trying to run. You know what I mean? And trying to stop him.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Right, slice him right down to the hamstrings.
Oh, stop saying that.
I'm sorry, but I'm just going by. But that was. It doesn't bother me. But the thing is, yeah, that doesn't make. That's where I'm saying this had to been, professionally done. Yeah. That's not amateur, because an amateur would have a hell of a time sleeping at night to something like that.
Yeah. An amateur would have left blood trail.
Yeah. Okay, everything.
We got another super sticker from Leslie Vasquez, 1999. All right.
You go, girl. Varagaza.
Thank you. I turned the ads off, so if whoever's watching don't have to fight through that if you don't have premium, because I basically just turned them off. But
you're getting the real deal. You're getting me on here, yeah.
That's right. We got it good tonight, and I appreciate everything. I got the subscription all covered for StreamYard. Is the best. I'm telling you.
It is. It's beautiful, right, guys?
It's best. It's the best. It's worth it.
Okay, guys.
Somebody's upset.
Those are my babies. Say hi. That's Bam Bam.
Upset.
No, they heard your voice. They were barking.
Well, hello.
Hello. Say hi. Oh, say hi. Okay.
I don't think he wants to say hi.
No, he's eating. I was having some nacho bugles, and he loves them. He just ripped my hand off just now. Yeah.
The dog eating bugles?
Not like that. I had one in my hand, and when I was talking to you, he actually just grabbed my fingers and pulled the damn bugle out of my hand.
Wow.
Little monster.
Wow.
Yeah. He's crazy.
Wow.
You me bazo. But basically,
I agree, Carly. An amateur would have left a blood trail.
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
I agree.
If they had like hazmat suits on or something like that, even so, they would have had to put like plastic all around in the entire house, But even so, I mean, blood would be all that spatter and all that would be on the yeah. It would be so hard not to have any of that around.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, we got some people that are signing off here saying great chat and bye, love
Well,
you.
it wasn't a great chat because you people didn't come onto stream, and you should have came on the stream tonight.
It was.
What the hell's up with that? Huh?
You got us covered, Davino.
I appreciate that, but they need to get their keisters on here next time. I want to hear their views.
That's right. Well, Les
Forget
got
the
on
chat stuff.
earlier.
They're just hiding. Get out here.
Did you catch Les when she was on?
No, but I remember the guy last week. Bill was cool last week. I remember Bill. He was cool.
Yeah. Les was on tonight. Just
I didn't hear her voice.
Yeah, she was on for a good little while.
She should have been on all night. Yeah.
We had 2 guests, and I'm satisfied because I just like it like this. I like it with nice people and people give what they can, and that's good enough. We have a good conversation, and I want to know whether Bryan Kohberger did this, and if we're blessed enough to know who actually did it, that'd be great. But I wouldn't bet the farm on that happening because, like you said, if it's organized crime, it's a big chance that we'll never really, they'll never be charged. They're already covering it up. But if Bryan was involved, then I want to know that too. I want to know. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just want to know.
Well, I don't think they have any tie into something like that. But if he was involved somehow, and you said you didn't arrest anybody else, and hope to God it wasn't that, then he's going to have a problem because now he's opened his mouth too much, and he should be shutting his mouth.
Yeah. I hope he would not think about suicide. I'm gonna have to pray for Bryan Kohberger because.
Well, and if he does, that means he's guilty.
Well, yeah. Well, if he does, if he did it, he might as well go ahead and take his.
I probably would because that would be for life. But not that he'll be on death row for 10 years anyway before he even gets in a fire squad.
Am I wrong for saying that? That if he did it, he might as well go ahead and.
No, because look at Aaron Hernandez. Perfect example.
Yeah, because we don't even know how many people Aaron actually did take their life.
A lot.
It's, every time he snapped, he could have been doing it, and we just don't know it.
He had gang ties too.
Yeah.
I mean the real McCoy. I'm not talking this amateur wannabe nonsense. I'm talking the real McCoy.
And everybody's talking about how much Bryan had going for him that he wouldn't throw that away.
That's what makes no sense.
Look what Aaron had going for him. He had more going for him than BK.
Oh, by a mile. The guy was worth millions.
He had won a Super Bowl. He was what, 21, 22, 23?
Something like that, yeah.
And won a Super Bowl? I mean, look how much he had.
One of them.
Shoot. So you can't we can't say that anymore. Why would he throw away PhD school and student, and whatever you call it, TA, because Bryan Hernandez had more going for him, but they can't find anybody else that they can say Bryan Kohberger took their life. But Hernandez had people in Florida he had done in.
I don't know. I mean, and if he did this, I mean, I just don't see how that was even possible. I would be shocked to hell. Like I have debates back and forth with. I don't. You probably know her. Is it Sweetie Piola or something, or Pilo or something like that? She's one of the. She's a sweetheart. I told her, if you're right about BK, I'll make you a nice. I'll send you a nice donation to your podcast. But nothing has been proven.
Yeah. You're right.
I
said, what's she saying about BK?
She still honestly believes that he did this.
Oh yeah.
She's 100% for sure that he did this. I go, based on what evidence?
And
that's where I love having the debates back and forth because it's fun. But I mean, I can see where she's coming from sometimes, but a lot of times I don't.
Right. Only thing that bothers me about Bryan, like I said, is that I don't know where this guy was. And if I don't know where you were, I can't rule you out from a crime. All this other stuff is garbage to me. But the fact that I don't know where you were, I can't let that go.
Right. They also said something about whoever did this supposedly got into some kind of a burger joint or a restaurant after this or something that was mentioned. But I don't know. But how would they know that? If that were the case and they already had the people already in jail?
Right.
I don't know. Things just don't. Every day it seems like new stuff is coming out, but it's really throwing everybody off. And I'm wondering if they're doing this deliberately to throw everybody off. I'm wondering, and this could be a possibility.
Yeah. Well, I got one more question for you, Davino.
Go for it.
I got one more. What are the chances that people in law enforcement committed the crime?
I knew you were going to ask that question because there is a possibility. These guys are corrupt. A lot of these guys did go
military training to
right
to pull it off.
Right, and the way their demeanors are, they would actually seem like they would get off on this.
And they were at the house so much, they knew what was going on in that house.
Right, and they were in the house before. I'm sure they were. And I remember one of the cops, I think, was at the corner club that night, but he was dressed. He was out of uniform. But there was weird because that white truck kept driving by. Remember the white truck?
Yeah.
When they're walking down the beat. And they say, "What would you say to Adam?" and all that. That white truck appears, and that was one of the officers' truck.
What? Now wait a minute.
If you go back to that video, where they're walking in black, I think they're in black and white or something. They're walking down the sidewalk. If you look in the background, you'll see that white truck. It almost looks like it's looking. That's not following them, but it's
strolling. It's strolling.
Yeah, exactly. And that was one of the officers. That was the officer's truck. I can't remember his name.
What?
Yeah. I'm dead serious. I'm not lying. You can please go to the video. The one which he says,
I know exactly what you're talking about, but how we know it's an officer's truck? We've been trying to figure out whose truck that was.
Because they showed it before that it was the officer's truck, but I forget whether it was in one of the I can't remember, but he drove that white truck. I cannot remember what I saw it in, but I forget the officer's name. I think it was the guy who showed up at the house and took a picture of Kaylee's ID.
Rosendahl.
Yeah, I think that's his truck.
Let me write this down.
And I'm almost positive that's his truck.
Oh my goodness.
But if that's his truck, why the hell would he be that close to them that night?
Right. That's the same one that took the picture of the license.
Right, unless he was making sure that because they were on their way to the grub truck when they were walking down the sidewalk. Remember?
I thought they were leaving.
No, I think they were going to the grub truck. That wasn't when they were leaving. They were on their way to the grub truck because they just left the corner club and he walked with them.
I'm gonna have to let me write this stuff down.
Yeah, because there's no video of them leaving the grub truck. Only when they turn the corner.
Okay, I gotta write.
And the other guy with the hood goes off to the left, but he's the one that was walking with them,
Jack
on the sidewalk. Yeah, was that Jack D or was that Jack? That was Jack S.
Jack S. Jack D.
Okay.
Jack D. kept his name and his face out of this.
Right, but he also did say, they're gonna get you girls for this.
Yeah, he did. But I'm just saying that's crazy that this is an officer's truck. You blew me away with that one.
I'm dead serious. If you look at that video, you'll see that white truck, and that I believe that I'm almost positive that's his white truck.
Y'all hear this?
Yeah.
Cindy, tell it to L, Carly, y'all hear this? That blew me away. That blew me away.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm wondering maybe it was like, okay, I'm watching them right now. They're on their way to the food truck. Maybe if he was involved, let's get over there and get inside. Who knows?
Right.
And they could have used the ladder to go up the side onto the balcony because none of them were home yet.
Yeah.
And if E and X were still at the truck at the same time, then no one was in that house except the dog.
And the killers.
Well, yeah, or whoever else. They could have been part of it. Who knows?
Yeah, the killers were in there.
Oh yeah, they were hiding. They were ambushed. Nobody broke in that house while they were there.
No.
That's all. That's a crock. They were already in that house.
Right. That was just,
And I think they were hiding in the closet. That's what I believe.
now, I told a big story. I got one more question. I
Go for it.
promise it's the last one.
No,
Here's-
Miguel, get more. No.
Here's just a theory.
Yeah.
What if, do you believe Diem and Bethany could have done it?
Yes, that's what I said. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm wondering if they did do this because they had time to clean up. If they had, I mean,
Yeah.
women are strong. Okay?
Even if, especially if the, well, we know Maddie and Kaylee had been drinking. They weren't 100%.
Right?
so
And
he
I'm sure
came
Ethan was
home-
pretty sloshed too because he came from the frat. So, you know, they were
Right,
putting him
right.
down.
So the alcohol and possibly drugs played a role. So
Oh, yeah. There's
Definitely
a
done it.
concoction. Yeah.
if they were guys, would we even be questioning somebody else?
Well, there's one picture where I forget, one of them is holding a machete outside.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, Dylan.
And if that's real, that's a hell of a weapon.
And there's pictures of her with a mask on too.
Yeah.
Her and her boyfriend.
I thought about this. There was also rumors that this was mentioned that the boyfriend was dealing out of the house, and I guess the girls were trying to prevent it from happening, or they tried to stop it, or they did stop it. Well, if
Right.
you do that, now you interfere with someone's business and their profit. Now you have a problem.
Right.
So I thought about these girls; they could have done this, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't put it past them. And this is what I'm saying about being shocked or being surprised, because Dylan looks like she could definitely handle her own. And
Yeah.
I think if she had a serious type of weapon in her hand like that, I mean, I just think it's just, now you go in such a frenzy that, you know, that's it.
Yeah. It's possible women do kill now.
Well, look
And-
at whatchamacallit, the one that was in Daytona Beach. I forget her name. That psycho woman. Charlene Theron portrayed her. I can't remember her name.
Look at the one who went and killed her.
Irene Waneker or something like that. It was something like that. But yeah, I mean, she was just frequenting the bars and she was killing these guys and taking their cars and stuff and their wallets and everything. And that's how she lived. But I tell guys out there all the time, you never underestimate a woman ever.
Right.
Because women, when in no state of mind, they can be very, very powerful and very strong.
And very devious.
Exactly. Very cunning, very devious. And anything can happen.
That's
Maybe they were lying down. Maybe they did fall asleep. And maybe they were texting back and forth saying, okay, you know what? Let's do it. It's time or something. Who knows?
I don't know.
But those were never, and who knows? I mean, you don't even hear about these girls anymore. So I'm wondering, maybe they could be in custody. Who knows? That we don't even know about.
We don't even know about it.
But
And
I
that
just
might
think,
be why they being witnesses. They have to be witnesses, because if not, they're gonna be suspects.
yeah. And Jack D was always.
They had time to clean up. They had time to clean up. Call everybody over there and act like, you know, they had plenty of time.
Yeah,
They
and Jack D was another one. Jack D was another one. The ex. I thought that he might have been involved in this, because I just don't understand why the parents would not take Murphy as a memory of their daughter.
Yeah, they said that Jack D and Kaylee had them as, you know, they had them
Custody.
as how do you say it? As you know, joint custody of the dog.
Yeah, which I never heard of that in my life.
Me either, but well,
Usually
people-
one buys it and that's it. It's their dog. You can't. I mean, it's just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he looks pretty weird looking too, but he also looks like he's got those type of eyes that could be, the devil, in disguise.
well, I don't rule them out either, and I just
No, I
feel
don't.
like,
Yeah, I think it's coming down to either, what we said about the beginning, which I still think is the case. But I don't know if those girls could have done something like that. Not when having 4 people, unless if they were sleeping, if they really were sleeping and they did that, well, that's a whole different ball game. Because if that You know, you're passed out, and they walk in and they start doing whatever they did. You're done. You're not gonna be able to, fight back. There's no way.
Right.
And then same with the other two. If he passed out and they started doing that to him, what's he gonna do? He's done. Especially with I'm not gonna go on that again, but you're done.
You're
There's
done.
nothing. You're gonna bleed out real quick,
You're gonna bleed out real quick.
and that'll be it.
I know one thing. Well, I was trying to see if I could give some memberships here, but I don't know what I'm doing. And so I might have to hold off on that. I'm trying to see if I can do it.
Hey, Bam Bam.
But-
What's up, buddy?
But
Thank you for that kissy. You're such a good boy. What a nice dab of the baji. You're such a good boy.
I don't know why I won't show this Super Stickers membership.
Hey, Bam. Where's your bear? Go get your bear.
I don't see it.
Where's Mr. Osa? Go get Mr. Osa. Where's Mr. Osa? Shh. Bam Bam.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, it's
Bam
not
Bam.
working.
Miss Biatch. Bam Bam. No, Miss Biatch.
I'll try to get it. Bam, bam.
I
All
have
right.
Pebbles and Bam Bam. Those are my corgis. So I'm a diehard Flintstone fanatic, and that's why I named them after that.
M Gal is just not showing up at the end of the live. I wish I could figure out how to do this gift thing. Hold on, let me look one more time.
Go ahead.
I just don't. Maybe I can do it over here. But I just want to tell everybody, thank you so much for coming out. I want to give a special thank you to Davino for hanging in there with us.
Thank you so much. I love you all so much.
and being willing to be our
Sorry, babe.
spokesperson for the case.
Yeah.
And so this
Ti
membership
amo,
thing
ti amo, everybody. Ti amo, ti amo.
is not working out. I think you have to do it on a Android anyway. But anyway, that's all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a pin in it here, and I'm going to leave the chat open for 10 minutes because people like M. Gal just got here and may want to speak to, friends.
Davino, if you want to come on, you can speak to Davino.
I'm going to leave it open for you all. You can speak to Davino. I'm going to leave it open for 10 minutes. It's 12:20. And meanwhile, I'm going to try another device. And if I can get it going, I'll give you guys some membership.
Yeah, and come on and talk to Davino.
Yeah, y'all talk to Davino.
Because I don't want this chat stuff. I want to hear some real live voices.
Lord have mercy.
Lord
Okay.
have mercy. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Now,
There you go.
that's a good way to end it on. Praise the Lord.
It is.
That's right.
It is. Yeah.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it. But yeah, they should come on and talk a little bit. That would be nice.
I don't know now.
Oh,
you
come
got
on.
they still live in here. I'm gonna go try to get another device. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah, come talk to Davino.
Let me see. Let me see if I can get it on another device. See if my son.
Let me see something. Prega i sonore. Prega i sonore. Where is? Oh man, come on with this stuff. He, mamma mia. What an idiot. How could you go airborne into a canal like that? What a moron. Tell you, these people today have no brains. They really don't. La vita. Save corn sucks. La vita. Wow, what a game. La una fantasía. Espejas sobre bloqueado. Mi vida sola città, come l'amico. Io sognano in me. E sono sempre libere. Come una nave. Volano. Yendo un y te quando l'avvino. Prego il Signore. I don't think no one's going to be coming on here. I seriously doubt it. Yeah, it's all good. No one's coming on here. They're probably all good. They're all going to bed.
No, they chatting in the chat. I'm trying to give some membership.
Oh,
I got another device.
it's all good. No worries. You do a great job. So.
It's all good.
Well, you're very motivating. As we say, prego il Signore,
Oh,
which means praise the Lord.
all right.
Remember that. Prego il Signore.
You got to say it slow.
Prega il Signore.
E Signore.
So it would be Pregail, which is technically silent, and then you have Signore, which is Signore. Prego il Signore.
All right. All right.
Signore. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I can't
that.
do all that.
You can what?
I can't do all that.
Well, no, not like that. I'm just saying, but that's when we saying praise the Lord, you would just say.
That's beautiful. I think I might have it. Just 1 second, because they're still talking in the chat. You got to talk to them in the chat. I put a link in there, but I don't think they're going to get up there, but I'll try. I'm trying to give some memberships. I really want to do it. I just need to get in this computer. They're talking in the chat. Oh, I might have it. Might have it. I might have it. Somebody in there talking Italian. I think I got it. I think I got it. I got it. All right. Now, there we go. I got it. All right. Now, there we go. All right, who we got for the new members? I got it. All right, if you got the new membership, let me see you in the chat. Let's see who the new 5 are. All right. It's all right. It's all right. They'll find out. All right, good people. That's going to be it for tonight. And I will see you. Let's see. We still got 14 people in here. So everything's good. Thank you to everybody who gave. Welcome new members. And I will talk to you guys on tomorrow. Cindy, I'll catch up with you a little later about that. All right? Let me see. Hold on, Cindy. I don't know if I can do it for a specific person. I don't know. All right. See you guys on tomorrow. And thank you so much.